Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. As long as it's all good, I want to welcome you to the House That Happens, sponsored by Shuey's Bar and Grill, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke, voted 4 times the best dive bar in the GTA, but we'd like to think it might be the best dive in Ontario, because when you're here, we keep the vibe alive. Hi, my name is Cruz.
And I'm Andrew Milani.
And once again, we're back here to talk about the insidious, iconic, and insane things that happen in the world of sports. How you doing, Andrew?
Good, Cruz. How about yourself?
Very good. And we got a guest today. I think you should introduce your buddy.
Yeah, we got Zack Benoit back in the House That Happens, my colleague from Humber Sports. How you doing, Zach?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Very good. I'm glad you made it back. I'm just going to let people know. We're going to let them. We're going to probably see you a couple of times this season, Zach, for your baseball acumen, so to speak. I mean, the only thing we have in common, the three of us, is that we're going to probably all cheer for the Jays at the same time.
Yeah.
But outside of that, we'll probably have a series of issues that we will get to over time, including what we'd like to open with is this laughter called the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, boy. So I want to open up with a dream I had on Monday morning, actually.
Oh, okay. This should be interesting.
So I had... So my dream...
Yes.
Leafs win the Stanley Cup.
Oh, that's a nightmare for me.
That's a pipe dream.
And Cruz, I'm telling you, this was the most real feeling dream like I have ever had in my life.
Really?
It felt real. Like there's like the conversations, like it was like they won. So a lot of detail. So Mitch Marner won the Conn Smythe. That was part of the
Wow.
dream. Yep. People were debating because they won on I can't think they won on a Friday or whatever. So people were debating what day the parade should be.
Oh my God.
That, it was a fully I've never been so disappointed to wake up in my life.
I bet you weren't.
I was like, fuck. Like,
you know what, Zach? I bet you had a morning woody too. I bet you any morning. That kind of dream, he woke up with a morning woody. Went, damn, what's going on here? So where was the parade? Where was it? That's interesting. That's a deep dream. When you're talking, you already knew that Marner won the Conn Smythe.
Yeah.
Did you drink the night before?
No, I was sober.
Wow.
I swear.
You must have went into a coma in order to
I
get
don't
a
know.
dream like that, because that's called, what do you call that? Flood with that I thing, REM?
REM.
Yeah, you must have drifted into REM to have a dream like that. You know what I mean? When I have a dream like that, usually someone like Giselle's in it or something like that. You know what I mean? But the Leafs winning the Stanley Cup, I'm going to say this much. I bet you that's the dream of about 80% of the male population in the GTA. Wouldn't you say, Zach?
Yeah, I think it's the dream of a lot of people in the GTA, not just men.
Not just
Yeah, that's true too. That's true too. I'm going to sit on the fence like that because if the when and if the Toronto Maple Leafs ever get to the finals, I will watch, but I will be the biggest fence sitter in the history of fence sitters. I will show you. I'll be like that crow that just sits there and just looks around, or that squirrel in your backyard just looking around, not cheering, not saying nothing, because I can never get on the bandwagon. You know why? Because Riley is in the press box. Mr. Milani, can we discuss why Riley is in the press box?
Oh, because he's been playing like garbage lately.
Zach, okay, full disclosure. Way back in there, and I'm going to say this now, and I don't care what they ever say because everybody's lukewarm and sitting on the fence, pissy-ass media here. Once upon a time in January, when Toronto was playing probably the best hockey of the year, their number one defensive pairing was Liljegren and Sandin when they were on that run. Okay? Now,
Number one house, so.
they were the number one pairing. They were the ones leading the charge when you started those games. Riley was in the box. Who was your best defensive pair then? Brody and who?
Whoever was with Giordano.
No, they were holding it down on the back end.
They were getting the most minutes, though.
It was about the same at the time. Remember we were checking on it? Anyway, my story is this, Zach. I said this. This Riley guy's a bit of a fraud to me. And he said, no, and that guy's supposed to be a big scorer. He hadn't scored a goal. He went to the box, and the Leafs had their longest winning streak when Riley was injured. Check the stats. The longest winning streak of the year by the Toronto Maple Leafs when they were at their peak point of this season. He was not playing. He was in the box, and I'm not going to say your number one because you never had a number one pairing.
Our number one pairing.
Okay,
yeah.
so to speak. But you had those 6 guys that came out every night, and they were solid. Okay, what happened? What happened? The trade deadline happened. That's what happened, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying they shuffled the deck too much?
I'm saying that I'm sick of the Toronto media saying, don't overreact. We've got 10 games to go. We're going to figure it out. We're going to go with 7 defensemen. We're going to make guys like Liljegren lost because now you've ruined his confidence.
I don't know about that.
Really?
I think he's still playing okay.
Well, no, he's picked it up, but they made him sit in the press box. And I don't think they did. I still remember a couple weeks ago when he had that one game, they said, oh, they're resting him. I'm saying they brought in these other guys. You see McCabe the other night against the Islanders?
Yeah.
He was in the wrong area code on 2 goals. Wrong area code. He wasn't even near his guy. When Parise got that one goal, did you see it, Doc?
I was in and out of the game, but yeah.
Okay, he was in another. Parise was so wide open. Where was McCabe? Because you know what? In my opinion, you guys got to play together so they have some chemistry. This is the problem, and I don't care. Did you? I shouldn't bring these guys up because they're so bland and they're so freaking. We'd blow them out of the water. But those overdrive guys, please, if you're going to come on the air, don't just be partisan. You can't be giving the Leafs fellatio all the time. Sometimes you got to be honest and say O'Reilly should be in the press box.
Well, and he is.
Exactly, but you know how much money is he making there, buddy?
Oh man, too much.
Okay, so when you're a guy, you know what I'm saying, Zach?
I think, well, like Riley through the majority of his career has been pretty consistent, to say the least. I think this year is obviously, like, I agree, he hasn't been that good. But even at least at the deadline, I think the major switch up that kind of threw everything off was trading away Sandin.
Thank you very much. I like this guy, Mr. Milani. I love this guy.
Because, look what he's done on Washington. He's been a key piece on their blue line since joining Washington.
They're not going to make the playoffs, unfortunately.
Probably not. But they have a rough team outside of Ovi. To be fair, like
they got a lot of injury problems this year.
Washington hasn't really been anything that special. But like Sandin was a consistent guy, and then you trade him. You trade him away. That was kind of like the only really blemish I had with the Leafs trade deadline. It's like, I get it. Like, over the past couple of years, their big thing was like address the defense, because that was the key thing that always like made them lose in the first round. It was the defense in the bottom 6. They did that. They addressed both of those things, but then you trade away one of your better defensemen, and it's like, now we just took a step back. Why would you do that?
Okay,
that's kind of how I saw the whole deadline.
I'm glad you showed up today. I'm liking you by the second, because my partner over here, Mr. Milani, he dismissed Sandin like he was last week's newspaper. When I said I don't think you should have traded him, go check the tapes. Producer, can we check the tapes? This guy blew it off like, Sandin, what do we need him for?
I still don't think we need Sandin.
But I'm telling you, you know what I'm saying, Zach? Him and Liljegren, as a partnership, they were solid. They were solid. What argument, Doc, at the time was this? And we agreed. Andrew and I agreed on this. Toronto needed that guy. When you come into your zone in the playoffs, you got to look around for that defenseman. Who's the defenseman that's going to scare you coming into your zone?
Yeah, no, that's why I said I think they did a really good job when it comes to trying to acquire that and like target that with the deadline. But I still think like giving up a guy who was playing well in your team, who's doing really well, had good chemistry with Liljegren.
Yeah.
I don't think he was playing that great, though. That's the thing. He had that deer in headlights thing.
See, he just doesn't like the guy. I don't know why. And I hate defending Toronto Maple Leafs. It's not something that I get up in the morning and I'm going to start defending Maple Leafs, okay? That's just not in my DNA. However, now that we're here, might as well point it out, I think that Liljegren and Sandin should have stayed together. I don't think they should have traded them. Too many guys got traded. You got 18 guys basically you dress every night, and you're one of the top teams in the league, and suddenly you take 1/3 of your roster and you kick it to the curb?
But the only guy that they really traded away was Sandin. Like, who else did they really ship out?
Prospects, true. But when I'm saying that's a dressing room thing now to me. And it's been brought up, and I think it's been pussyfooted. Like when I'm reading the newspaper and when I'm watching the guys on TV, not so much Tim on the afternoon show.
Right.
Okay, he's the only guy that's been barking a little bit about what's really going on with this team. I'm finding most of the other medias, all these media shows, because I think they're too close to the team. So we're not getting a objective look at what's going on. It's like, well, let's wait for the playoffs. So if the playoffs started tomorrow, Zach, who are you picking to win, Tampa or Toronto? If you had to pick right now and put money
between those teams, or just entire league?
No, just saying tomorrow. Okay, the playoffs start.
Honestly, I still think Tampa has an edge.
Ooh, what are you saying, Mr. Milani?
Leafs in 5.
Oh my God! Did you? This guy's bold. What did I tell you? You're saying Leafs in 5?
Leafs in 5.
Okay. Now we got to jump to the chase on this. Okay, Tampa Bay has not been playing exactly.
They've looked garbage since the trade deadline. Let's not beat around the bush.
Okay, and they made a couple of personnel changes that might have affected their dressing room, too, on the back end, because they went out to get a couple of defensemen. I forget the guy's name.
I know they defenseman, I can't really think of, but they went out and got that forward from Nashville.
Yeah.
Just because.
Yeah, they got him, too, yeah.
They shipped it.
Was it Niederreiter?
No. He went to Winnipeg. I forgot. He was he was the rookie with the most goals last year. I'm blanking on his name.
Me too. And not only that, they need them. Yeah. They thought they'd shore up scoring for the deeper lines, even though I just think that Tampa Bay plays like a machine.
My whole thing with Tampa is like they're where Pittsburgh was after the 2 cup runs.
Okay,
Like,
agree.
You look at it, they've played what? They've been in the playoff run since 2019, 2020.
After the year they won.
When would I can't remember when the Tampa
When did they
dynasty
lose in
kinda
the
started.
first? When did they lose in the first round? They got upset. Was that 19?
That was 19.
And then ever
was-
since then,
So it's been
every
what?
year since then,
It's been
three.
three years.
to the finals.
They're playing basically full years of hockey. And it's coming to the
Exactly.
point now where like you can kind of see like these guys are getting gassed.
Well, they ran out of gas in the finals last year, I would say.
Okay, so they
but
run
still,
out of gas. Aren't these great
exactly,
athletes?
That's also helping prove my point
Yeah,
in the sense of
I'm
like
agreeing with
they
you.
had like what 2 months off, maybe a month off.
Yeah.
From preseason training and all that.
Yeah.
So like
Excuses.
I think right now
No, but like that happens.
look
I
at
hate
what happened.
that.
Look what happened with the Penguins. Like I'm a
hate it.
huge Penguins fan, but it's just like
Rest is an important part.
yeah, they won back-to-back
Need to
cups.
rest.
They played the most hockey in the span of 3 years, and in 2019 and then 2020 they were very mediocre. They
That's
didn't do
nice,
anything
kids.
much.
That's very nice, kids. I'm going to give you a little history lesson, okay? Montreal Canadiens won 4 years
Different
in a row.
era. Different
stop
era.
Stop it. The New York Islanders won 4 in a row.
Different era. There was no cap.
Detroit had 6.
No cap.
Get
No
them out
cap.
of here. Detroit had a nice run. What did they do? They had that run in the 90s. That's pretty. That's
Yeah,
when
they
the
won
Caps
2 in a
started.
row.
What's that? And
They
then
won-
when they were there, 3 in 5 years?
3 and 6.
3 and 6.
They did what the Blackhawks did, basically.
Yeah, okay, and Blackhawks are in the cap era, but that's another story because I say the cap screwed up Chicago more than tiredness. Same with the Kings. I would say the cap.
You know what Chicago did to themselves because they panicked after that first round loss to Nashville.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, we got to trade Chalmers and we got to trade Panarin. And they never recovered.
No, exactly. But I'm still saying, Zach, we've argued about this quite a bit. He's younger than me, so he's going to give me this salary cap bullshit. You know what I'm going to tell you? Better.
Also,
what?
Yeah, okay. Well, I know you're gonna say it's like better training, better blah blah
yeah,
blah, all
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Well, guess what? The other team with more rest has that too, and they got more rest.
Okay.
Rest is an important part of recovery.
Yeah, that was my only point. It's just like Tampa's played so long, they've looked garbage this year, especially after the trade deadline. I think come playoff time, like they haven't been playing their best, but like we know the level that Tampa Bay can play, and it's like.
Okay,
I
so
think
They've lost a lot. They've lost a lot of guys, though. That's the thing.
Okay, here's what I'm going to give you, right? I'll give you this, okay? In this era of better athletes, better training, better players, better girlfriends, better everything.
Better girlfriends.
I'm saying this, okay? There's nobody seems to be able to get to that next level. So they're going to be the 4th year in a row in any of the sports. Like take them to 4 major sports, nobody seems to be able to get there because it seems to be fatigue or whatever. All right, so I'm going to say Tampa Bay is not going to get there because the odds are against them. Just because from a numbers point of view. But I don't like buying into this, I'm tired bullshit. I'm tired of that. You know what I mean? You're a professional athlete. Everything I hear every day is, and you know what? That's
But you're
what
going up against other professionals, though.
so then you're all going to be training all year round. It's not like back in the day when I was a
the
kid,
guys
they
who
were
have
hamburgers.
but the guys who have that rest, it's in like you see even with the Kings, another example.
Okay, but I thought that was more salary cap too. So here's what I'm going to tell you. This is what I've noticed, and you guys are watching the game. So am I. Here's what I like about Sheldon Keefe as a coach. When it gets to the third period, I want to know how many minutes Austin Matthews and Marner are playing in the third period, especially when it's closer, they're behind.
Yeah.
They're out there an awful lot. Why? Because they're top-notch athletes, and they should be in shape to be able to play a few more minutes a game. So now you're going to say, oh, my God, when they lose in the 7th game in Tampa Bay, these idiots in the media are going to say, if they didn't play so many minutes in the last 10 games, they wouldn't have been tired.
Well, first of all, the Leafs have been losing in the first round, so they've been having plenty of rest.
Oh, no, there we go. Okay.
So
I'm glad
not,
you brought that up.
No, but like, if
I
people
was
bring
going
that up,
there.
if people bring that up about the Leafs, that's nonsense.
I heard it already on these
That's
Overdrive
not-
crowd. They were talking about
Less said about Overdrive, the better. Come on.
Thank you. Okay, so that's why we're dismissing them. But I heard that too. That's what drove me crazy. I'm listening and I turned the channel immediately. I said, I don't want to hear that. I think the reason that Toronto is going to beat Tampa Bay, and if they do, is going to become strictly because of the numbers going to catch up to them. You know what I'm saying, bro?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like Pittsburgh, like when it caught up to Pittsburgh.
Man, it's just so painful now.
Because
with
you remember,
Pittsburgh.
not only
Like,
you
being
guys,
a fan, it's tough.
Agreed. What did you guys win? 3 and 5?
Two in a row.
Two in a row, but they won 3 all together.
Yeah, 16, 17, and then they won 9.
09.
They won 09.
Oh, yeah, okay.
They almost did back-to-back in 09 and 10.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
08,
They had the
09.
other right.
Yeah. Oh, it was 08 and 09?
Yeah, that was the year they lost to Detroit, and then they beat them the next year.
And they beat them, yeah.
So
But
I
they
thought it
ran
was-
to
I thought
the
it was the other way around.
semifinals. So that Pittsburgh runs, because they lost in the semifinals, wasn't it? Or they got to the conference
They lost the
championship?
conference finals in 13.
Yeah, so I mean,
They
they've
got
had
swept by
long
Boston,
runs.
yeah.
They've had long runs
Well,
in their days.
even over the entirety, they've have I think 20 consecutive years or something like that of being in the playoffs.
Okay, yeah, but I got a
we
number
count
for it.
we count the playoff play-in games as
Oh yeah,
playoffs.
oh that's right. Okay, so now
Counts towards the playoff stats.
Exactly.
So.
Andrew, I'm dying
Consecutive.
to ask Zach because he's a Pittsburgh fan. There's two things that we like to talk about on this show because we're fan people. The legacy of Sidney Crosby. Since all of that nonsense, he has not made the play. He's not gotten out of the first round. And number two, this could be the first time in what do we figure, 16 years or 18 years, if Pittsburgh does not make the playoffs, then that's the first time in 16 or 18 years that Ovi and Crosby will not be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
For
Since their rookie seasons.
Since the rookie
seasons, especially with the Penguins right now, I haven't really dove too deep with the Capitals, but like Penguins especially, they didn't address what they needed at the deadline. They got worse at the deadline,
but I thought that was smart. They didn't give up prospects. I read that afterwards. Pittsburgh got a couple of prospects that people were trying to. And they said no. We're not these guys.
There were talks like the 2 weeks prior to before the deadline. It was, Jacob Chychrun, Brock Besser, JT Miller. Those are the three guys that the Penguins are targeting. We come out with Mikael Grenland, Nick Bonino, and Dmitry Kulikov. And it's like I love the team. Yeah, he is. We traded for him, played one game, he got a lacerated kidney. He's out for
I'm saying he turned out to be a powerhouse.
Yeah, but it comes to, for Pittsburgh especially. It came down to like their entire lineup, not even their big three. Like they're the oldest team in the league. They're the slowest team in the league. They don't have any really bottom six depth, so it's like they get exposed heavily.
So what we're saying then is this: if we can all agree on this little point, then I'm not going to talk about them being tired. They just got wore out, and it was and the deals they had to make, and then the things they had to do on the salary cap. But I'm just saying this:
poor management too, because they never really found a replacement for Fleury.
Point well taken. I was going to go there.
Jari, he wasn't bad in the first couple of years. This year it's been very wonky. Like he hasn't been good whatsoever.
It cost you guys some playoff series too.
No, 100%.
There's the one against the Islanders, I think,
agree.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, last year, if Jari was healthy, we win the playoff series. The only reason, we lose the game 7 against the Rangers because Jari hasn't seen action in a month.
And he let in a couple from the fairway
and it's
too.
Just like I can't.
That one from the fairway, that skip puck.
Yeah.
That took the gas right out of the team.
I can't pin that
Shades of
game 7 loss.
Oh yeah, exactly. You don't want to say one play. Yeah, remember Tosca? Toronto Maple Leaf. There. I don't like when anytime a guy lets one in, the chip shot in from the fairway in, the whole team kind of goes, huh, what? Like, you don't want to say one play changes the game. But here's another thing that I'm saying. We're reaching for straws with the media in Toronto, okay? And Andrew and I discussed this. And you tell me, we're going to get back to the Pittsburgh thing for a second. But they said the other night, and it's an interesting thing when you watch the games. I watch a lot of games. I watch too much Leafs, bro. This Milani guy makes me watch too much Leafs.
I make you.
Well, I have to.
I make him. I have a gun to his head. That force I'm like, Cruz, you're going to watch the fucking Leafs.
That's what he does.
You open the door behind him and be like, are the Leafs on?
I'm telling you, he calls my house. He calls my wife. Okay, check his PVR. Make sure he's got the
check
Leafs.
the phone records.
Make sure
Pull it up.
Yes, Andrew. Cruz is in the basement watching the Leafs now on PVR so he can look at the replays. But in any event, here's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that anyone should be too critical of any team at any time because we're not on the ice. We're just passionate sports fans that want to see quality competition. However, the proposition came up then. Did you see, what's the goalie's name on the Islanders? I'm having a...
Sorokin.
Yeah.
He made that huge save on
Gustafsson.
Gustafsson, okay? Yeah. Now, if they score at that time, and we've discussed this, the game is now 2-0. It would have been a 2-0 game right there. So but at that point in the game, that was like the 12-minute mark of the first period? Or
it was about halfway through the first around there.
First period. So I heard people saying, if they only scored. Well, if I had got 6 numbers last night instead of 1, I'd be rich. You know what I'm saying? So I don't buy into every time the media is saying, now, if that had happened in the last 5 minutes of the game, I'm in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm in. But you're talking about a play that happened in the second half of the first period is going to affect the whole game. Now, I'm not saying that it couldn't because 2-0 is way different than 1-1 going into the second period.
Yeah.
I was going to say I agree to a point. Like that early in the game, no, I don't think it matters as much. I think not like second period, getting that second goal going up 2 is a difference maker in the sense like even in any sport, there's always there's moments where it could be a big it could be a big factor where it's like it doesn't seem as as big as it is, but it could impact the game heavily.
I agree.
One save, one shot, one injury.
Okay, but I always look at it this way, and we'll get to this later a bit, is that I think it's more, baseball has more of effect to me, like an early inning thing in baseball. I think it's far more effect than it has in hockey because hockey and basketball are flow games.
Yeah.
No, agreed.
You know what I mean?
100%
So,
agreed.
I'm not saying that 2-0. I think 2-0 would have been going because the Leafs seem to be going. Now, my thing is what ended up happening. And I'm going to tell Mr. Milani because this is what I've been drilling at him, and this is why Riley is in the press box. Did you see the giveaways from your defense by the time? Like, you think about it, it was 1-1 until what? Middle of the second period. What was the final score?
Oh, it was 6-2?
7, whatever.
Yeah.
But how did it? That's what blows my mind. And I thought about the chemistry. I thought about McCabe being out of position badly on two horrible things. And then Marner makes one little quip. So what? Marner makes one every 60 games. Why even bring it up? He's one of your best players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Marner is playing phenomenal.
Top 10 in the league right now, easily. I don't care what him and
Marner for Selke. We've been banging that drum all season.
Yes, Marner for Selke. And now all of a sudden someone's going to say that particular play late in the season. Like I see people picking at scabs.
There's always going to be people picking at little things, but like that's the same way with even bigger players. Look at Crosby. People pick that stuff he's done. Look at McDavid. People pick at stuff he's done.
We're gonna get back to that in legacy for a minute. But do you think Marner is a bona fide Frank Selke trophy candidate?
I think he can get it. Like if he keeps playing like he is,
only 10 games left.
Yeah, I don't think he can lose it.
I can't wait till we have the tapes when we're gonna take the tapes at the end of the season because the two things that I called out, and I'm not a Leaf guy, I said that Riley sucked and Marner is gonna win the Selke. And how long ago did I say that, Mr. Milani?
Close to the beginning of the year.
Somebody I know put out like a bold statement at the start of the year about Auston Matthews. She came up to this was during my bowling league. She comes up to us and she's like, I put a bet down that Matthews won't score 40 goals.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, I looked at, I was like, you're insane. And I'm like, there's no way. And then looking at him, like he's at like 35. And
but
I'm like,
that's another. But you know what?
That's wild. I'm like, there's a chance.
Okay, so that's my last point about the Leafs. But first of all, my last point about the Leafs in this way. Andrew will tell you all the year, I used to drag Matthews' dick in the dirt with the best of them. If you knew me, I was I still remember you guys lost the playoffs because Gallagher dummied freaking Auston Matthews. I'll take that to my grave. Someone should have beat the shit out of Gallagher right there, and I'm a Habs guy because here we keep tabs on the Habs, okay? But in any event, that moment there, that happened, and now since then, this season, number one, do you know, everyone knows this stat, which blows your mind. Who's blocked the most shots of any forward in the NHL?
It's
Auston Matthews.
Yeah, he's improved the two-way game. And
unbelievable!
That's what was needed last year in the playoffs, and that's what he's doing this year. And I respect it a lot.
I'm like every time I come out here, what do I say? Did you see Auston Matthews play last night? So what I'm saying about the media is they say, "Oh, Auston Matthews is going to come around. Oh, his game is going to do this. Oh, Auston Matthews is going to do this." I'm going, what game are you watching, people? Did you see the time twice in the Islander game when the score was 1-1 and they had the confusion in front of the net? Who pulled the puck away and took it out? It wasn't a defenseman. It was Matthews.
Yeah.
Now, 2 years ago, Matthews would have been up around center ice waiting for the pass out. No, now he's back taking the puck. Not the defenseman.
That's what you need from your star players.
There you go.
That's why Pittsburgh was so successful for so long, is because they had a guy in Crosby and Malkin who understood to be like, we need to back check now.
Took Malkin a little longer.
It took Malkin about like 7-8 years longer.
Yeah.
But with Crosby especially, it's like we need to go back now. Like, we need a body in front of the net to get rid of like clutter for our goaltender. Like
exactly.
The classic Scotty Bowman lesson for Steve Yzerman, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That old school, which should be put in a book when you talk about it because they preach that now. But my point is this, and I've been hearing this a lot in the media and even writing. And you know what? You ever heard the guy Feschuk that writes in the Star?
I think I've actually seen a couple.
You know what? I want to piss in his gas tank so his car will stall. I hate that guy. You know what I mean?
So that makes two of us.
Oh, he's questioning Austin. He's a big beat writer in Toronto. He's one of the guys that's questioned Auston Matthews' season. I'm going, what game are you watching? Buddy, and he's
I
going to
don't think he
score 40.
understands hockey, but
I don't think he understands any sport. I think he comes from a rich family, and they just
Yeah.
spoon-fed him to his spot here.
You look at the era we're in now, where it's like, oh, like points are up, scoring matters more. Like McDavid's scoring 160 points a year right now. It's like,
He's the only one, though.
but it's like people forget like having a two-way player, like a guy who has a fundamentally sound two-way game, is like just as important as a guy who will score.
I'd say it's more important, especially in the playoffs.
Exactly.
Me too. That's a consensus
If you have,
move.
You
Consensus,
have,
I'll add that.
you have a center where the puck gets coughed up at the blue line and he's back checking his ass off to get back and play defense. That's way more valuable than a guy who'll just cherry pick it to score a goal.
Well, that's why I'm saying that this is why the formula, the equation is adding up to this. Tampa Bay being tired, Toronto being a little bit more hungry, and then who's going to be the starting goalie when it starts? Because the media, again, is trying to force feed us that Matt Murphy, Murray is going to start the thing. And once again, Mr. Milani, who did I say months ago was going to start
Samsonov, you've been saying that
since a long time ago.
It'll come down.
I don't think so. I think that the pressure is going to be because the money. You think, and if they start Murray that first game, I'm going to lose my shit.
You know what? I'm starting to think that they might go with the Samsonov home Murray away thing. I'm starting to think that the Leafs are.
Your theories are great. Remember, you brought that up.
I'm starting to think that the Leafs are like just a little crazy enough to do that. You know?
And when did you call that?
Oh, mid-season.
I thought you were nuts.
Yeah.
Zach, he brought up the proposition because I kept saying Samsonov's going to start the playoffs. Samsonov's going to stop the playoffs. Then he came in with the splits, which blew me away at the time, and they've stayed consistent since you brought it up.
Yeah.
But Mr. Milani brought this up 3 months ago. When they start the playoffs, Samsonov will start at home, and Murray will start on the road. At first, I thought you were nuts. Now,
not so crazy.
Not so crazy at all, and especially the way they keep trying to bring Murray in. Like, they keep trying to bring him in. And you know what? He had a streak of it. Glad it ended. He was leading the league.
Like 4 or 5 goals in a row.
I went, ooh, that's kind of ugly. But he played solid against Florida.
Even like a lot of those games, it's hard to put a lot of those on him.
Oh,
the
one that bounced over his shoulder, like those weird, all that kind of stuff.
There's a lot of bad luck
and bad defense.
I love Matt Murray. Like, I'll always love
you
him.
have to. You have to.
He carried us in a rookie season to a cup. Like,
agreed.
I can't hate him.
So is he tired now from all that extra playing, and he's not going to get us anywhere?
He was just he had a horrible glove side. That was
always has. Always will. Okay, here's another thing that I hate about announcing, and then I won't talk about the announcers or hockey anymore. Did you see when the puck went over the net and they did the review and they called the score?
Yeah.
They thought the spectacular, the guy's ass was back. They shot at the net, and what a spectacle. No, the guy was completely out of position. He stuck his ass out. The puck hit it by mistake. Oh, that was a great save. Oh, the mesh on his glove. I wanted to, you know what? I turned down the volume, I think, and I put the music back up. I go, this is why announcers and sporting people, you know what? I missed my calling, maybe. But when I hear a sports guy say something like that, and they show the replay, then they got to back off the spectacular play, because Murray's in another error code. He's flopping around like a fish on the beach, and a puck hits him. Spectacular save! Come on.
I could say from Zach, you might be able to back me up here. From someone that does play-by-play, it's easy to get caught in the moment, though, when doing that.
I'm not saying you didn't, but you have to admit it was overkill about the spectacular play. It was not a spectacular play. The puck just hit you in the ass. Stop it.
Well, I did it back in the last year Humber. It was a spring. It was like an exhibition game. And a guy gets the ball, hits a fadeaway through in the corner. I just went crazy, because I'm like, and I look back and after, I'm like, this is an exhibition game. Why am I going ballistic like this?
Premature ejaculation.
You just get caught up in the moment.
Yes, I know, I agree. But my point being is that sometimes this is why I'm here today, and this is why the house is going to get built into a mansion, because we're fan friendly first.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And we're going to like give us a little bit more time. We're going to bark back at the media. We're going to bark back at some of these people, because I understand that they're paid by corporations and stuff. But I want a subjective look at the games, or an objective look at the game, so to speak. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean. Sometimes I think, and I'm watching, like, you can't pussyfoot around the fact that if the Toronto Maple Leafs do not win a playoff series this year, the season's a failure.
Oh, 100%.
And then you get the Tampa Toronto as a flip. You know what I mean? But before we run away from this hockey thing, I have to do this. Congratulations to Ovi on the 40 season. For the 14th, I've had to say, me of all people, because we have that little bet. I don't want him to catch Gretzky.
But he will.
I was dissing, and I said he would not score 40 goals this year. I said that. I said he's got to slow down sometimes. All props to Ovi. All props to Ovi.
How many back is he now?
77.
77?
Yeah, I think it's 77.
He's going to do it.
No, he's going to have a Russian 18-year-old girlfriend he's going to have an affair with. He's going to lose his shit and go back to the KHL. 20 goals short.
So I also want to shout out Crosby, first player in NHL history to have 30-goal seasons at 18 and 35.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible.
Yes.
Also second player in NHL history to have 18 consecutive point-per-game seasons.
Yes.
Only behind Gretzky.
Okay, so that's what we're talking about, the legacy of Crosby. I don't want it to get tarnished by the fact that he hasn't won. He's been knocked out in the first round how many times now? You're the Pittsburgh guy.
I don't think that should tarnish his legacy whatsoever. I think it's the team behind him.
Okay, so before we go, anything you want to say about the Leafs? Are you going to defend?
So there's one last thing about Matthews. I just wanted to point out his plus-minus, which I know is your favorite stat, plus 31.
Thank you very much.
In only 64 games.
Thank you very much.
That's an incredible
by the
stat.
way, Zach, you know me and analytics, right? We get along like the Hatfields and McCoys. All right? That's how well we get along. But I do, Mr. Milani will tell you this, I am a plus-minus guy. That's why I meant to bring that up when I said, you know what I mean? Because you're on the ice. But yeah,
you got to take it with some context.
A grain of salt. But he is plus 31, correct? Is that
plus 31 in 64 games.
Yeah, not
amazing.
Not as much of an offensive season, but still a really good two-way season. It's like you can't. From a fantasy standpoint, you can be pissed.
Yeah.
Yes. Be pissed off because he's not.
Unless block shots count in your league.
Exactly. Unless block shots, unless block shots and plus minus count.
There you go.
Yeah.
But from overall, a hockey fan watching, you got to tip your cap, being like, you know what? There was a game, an area of his game that he needed to address, and he addressed it.
Yeah, very well.
When he came
one of the best skaters in the league. He's a powerhouse skater. Like the way he skates,
his IQ is phenomenal.
Oh yeah. He's been outstanding. Before we get off the topic, though, we're talking about legacies. Really quickly, who would you say is on your Mount Rushmore all-time of hockey?
All-time of hockey.
Who's on your Mount Rushmore? And we'll just give it to you really quick. The three that we've seem to be satisfied on is Orr, Lemieux, and Gretzky.
Although I would say Lemieux's spot on there is kind of
shaky, but we're going Orr and
especially
Gretzky.
Now.
Orr and Gretzky.
I would say
Orr Gretzky for sure.
100%.
Orr Gretzky. Putting
Gordie Howe.
Yeah, I'm putting Howe up there.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, it honestly it's a toss up. Like I would want to say Crosby, but like I feel like
Crosby's on mine.
I feel like
is he?
I want to say Crosby.
I think I have to now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Why? Because of his standard.
Because everything.
Okay, the reason, Zach, it came up, the
Yeah.
reason that it came up, we broached this subject, and we'll move on really quick, is where do we put Connor McDavid?
Well, it's still a little early for that, don't you think?
I think
he's
he's got to win a ring.
Himself.
Oh, I think he's amazing. I think he's one of that. And I've said this on the show before. I'm not talking about hockey. I'm talking about spectacular athletes in the world today. I used to say he was top 10. No, he's top 5. You want to talk about soccer, volleyball, pickleball? Oh, by the way, I seen that on TV the other night on the Game Channel. That's retarded. That's going to be a professional league, but I don't want not to digress. But in any event, where's McDavid now? Like McDavid, his first 4 years is compatible to the Gretzky, Lemieux, the Yzermans, and the Crosbys, and he hasn't won squat.
Yeah.
Not on the team level.
Yeah, on a squadoodle. So where do you put that? Like by now, Crosby's already won a cup. He's already won. No, he's never had a chance.
Oh, how many years is Crosby?
This is his 8th
This
season.
is his 8th year.
Eighth year?
7th. No, 8th.
This is
Crosby
year.
won in his 5th. Right?
Yeah.
In 9.
Yzerman won in his 7th. Lemieux
Crosby won his 4th season.
Yeah.
Was it his 4th? I thought it was his 5th.
Yzerman won in his 6th or
yeah,
7th.
No, Yzerman won like his 13th or something.
Was it that many?
Because he was drafted in 84. They didn't win until 97.
Oh, there you go. So he has a couple more years to match
maybe,
Yzerman.
but I'm not. I say in the long term, I think Connor McDavid's a better player.
I don't really put Yzerman in that category.
No,
though.
but I think Yzerman.
He's a spectacular player.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yzerman did so many things that you can see. I don't know how old you were to remember when Yzerman was playing, but Yzerman was a guy that was clean on both ends. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you know that old adage about you don't always see what's in the box score.
Yeah,
he was one of those guys. Like Yzerman, I would say like, okay, who's the 10 greatest players of all time? If someone said number 10 is Yzerman, I'm not going to argue with that person.
Fair enough.
You know what I mean? But in any event, we're going to move on here.
Hold on. We got some more to discuss, remember? First of all, Fanatics taking over the uniforms in 2024 from Adidas.
Okay. I forgot about that.
This is, I don't know. I think this is kind of a joke. I mean, the Fanatics, they make the replica jerseys right now, and they're not of great quality. Let's just say.
So now, when I buy a replica jersey, is it going to be $500 just because we're the official partners, or is it?
I don't know.
I'm getting mine from China anyway. Anything I'm buying from China is a knockoff. I don't buy nothing from China except a knockoff, so I might as well get them there. Fanatics. I think this is weird too. Like we both agree.
Really weird.
We thought it was going to be Under Armour.
I thought so.
Yeah, when he brought it up, I thought Under Armour would be there too.
Well, because Under Armour's the partner for baseball too. Like
exactly.
Well, they were almost. It's Nike
did it get?
It's Nike that does it. Remember?
Is it Nike? Oh,
yeah,
I thought I remember reading that it was they're taking over in 23.
No, because I thought Nike took over like last year or something, but like it was a lot of people thought Under Armour was in there, but then like I think the deal broke down at the last minute or something. I don't know what the.
I'm not sure either, but I thought Under Armour was like the front runner on it. Anything I was hearing, I thought they were going to go.
It was a huge deal.
Of course,
Under Armour was taking over for baseball.
Yeah.
But like if they took over hockey, imagine that. Like having two of the big North American markets, that's crazy.
So you know what that says to me? That people in America are still treating hockey like a niche sport. To me, because why wouldn't they jump in and do it? I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, and then Fanatics is on what level of uniforms, as you pointed out?
Unless it's something behind the scenes that we have no access to see that, like,
True.
That, like,
it might come out later.
Yeah, it could be something like that. Like, Under Armour and NHL couldn't agree to this because of this.
But, like, there's, like, I don't know. I still find it strange, like, they couldn't get a deal with, like, they couldn't renew with Adidas. They couldn't.
That's what. But I heard Adidas.
They couldn't get the Puma. They couldn't.
Oh yeah,
Puma.
You know,
I thought
like,
Puma, but Puma's not a hockey guy. JC, that says we don't do nothing about hockey.
Puma's very European too, right?
Exactly. So. The thing about Adidas is they say they're having word around a campfire. I've read in a few places, like on the financial pages, sometimes in the newspaper, it's come up about the hierarchy in Adidas. There seems to be some kind of I don't know, corporate kind of something going on with money and where their profits are and how they're moving. I don't know. I'm not going to say that I'm an expert on it, but I have heard whispers that there's some corporate nonsense going on with Adidas and their distribution. I don't know.
Shame.
But like ever since the whole Kanye and Yeezys thing, like Adidas has been taking a lot of hit from that. They're losing a lot of profit from Kanye's the Yeezys.
Oh yeah.
I heard they're just gonna like fucking burn all the shoes basically.
I heard but like if you think about it, that's a lot of profit.
I know, that's insane.
Burning, right?
Yeah, $1 billion. I heard it's a bill. They're gonna lose $1 billion on the deal.
That's the biggest thing. I think that could be a big reason why they're like, we don't have the money to
maybe because I heard that Adidas is going to probably lose in the long run $1 billion on the
Yeezy situation.
And I heard, and there's a rumor now, and I don't know if it's true, and I forget where I tried to write everything down. As you can see in front of me, 4 books with 4 different notes. But I heard that's already they took a container, and there's kids running around in Africa somewhere. In those shoes.
Yeezys?
That's what I'm hearing. They just go, what are they going to do with them? There's how many pairs? There's a zillion pairs.
I've been trying to get a pair for the last 7 years.
Yeah, but I mean, now they're going to be marketing. You know what's going to happen with this? This is how stupid humans are. Someone's going to put those in a box and put them in the closet. And about 30 years from now, I'll be dead, and you guys will be still doing this show. And they'll be putting one of those shoes on the market, and they'll be auctioning them off for a stupid amount.
That's what they're doing already. There's some that aren't being made anymore because of the termination of the contract between Kanye West and Adidas. I think it was like a zebra pair or something. They're going for like $2,000.
Wow, I heard about the zebra ones too, but it's they're already going for that.
Some of them are because
that's sneaker pimps.
Because once they're like, they're not making them anymore. Inflation, we're selling our shoes.
Sneaker pimps push that shit through the ceiling, whatever. Yeah. But I you know what? Before I'm gotta let Mr. Milani talk some more about hockey because at the house that happens, we keep tabs on the Habs. So can you tell us something that might be going on significant for the Montreal Canadiens?
Well, for the Leafs and the Habs.
Leafs and the Habs, true.
2 Habs prospects and Leaf prospect Matthew Nyes each got named finalists for the Hobey Baker Award. Finalists MVP for the college hockey in the States. Hudson from Boston University from Montreal and Farrell from Harvard on Montreal. And then, of course, Nyes plays for Minnesota. So...
I just want to say one thing about my Habs because we have no time to talk. See, what happens, Zach, is this. A bunch of our guys wanted to join the Live Tour, so they said, fuck the playoffs. Let's get out in the course and get ready. You know what I mean? So we gave them the Euro guys in case they make the Live Tour. But I just want to say this. And you know my hate thing. You understand my hate. I hate pedophiles. I hate terrorists, and I hate the Boston Bruins. Okay, so just want to make sure you get that. I am so glad the other night, and I don't like moral victories, as Andrew will tell you. I don't like any of that.
No, you do not.
All that bullshit about
victories,
nothing.
aren't it? I got you.
I'm just glad that the Habs played really well against Boston the other night. Because I was looking the other way. You know what, Andrew? I thought I was going to look at it was going to be like, I kept checking the score. I hope it's not 6-1. I hope it's not 5-0. I hope it's not 7-2. Like I was just saying, it's getting the end of the season. Is Boston just going to come in? And we played with pride. That's all I'm saying. Like it's no, I don't, Andrew, you know this. I don't believe in this moral. You win or you lose.
Yeah.
You win or you lose. But I'm really glad we didn't get blown out.
I think they're making they're making good stepping stones for the future.
I'm calling them to make the playoffs next year.
It's a dignified tank that Montreal's got going on. You're fifth in the Bedard Bowl standing.
Bedard Bowl. I always forget they call it that.
That's good. But you know what? I this is why he's becoming one of my better friends. Did you hear what he said? We lost with dignity.
It's a dignified tank.
I will take that.
I said Pittsburgh should have tanked so we can get our next Crosby.
But I don't want you guys to tank because I want Crosby to win another playoff series. I've always liked Sid the Kid.
Oh, man, I want him to win another cup. I don't know if it'll happen.
Well, I think they owe it to Crosby to be competitive while he's still around.
Thank you.
That's why.
That's my take.
Why they extended Malkin and Letang because Crosby has 2 more years on his contract.
Yeah, and he's going to retire after that. I think.
Probably.
I think so too.
I'm just hoping he gets the point per game so he can beat the one record he could beat with Gretzky.
I think he will.
Because he has 2 more years and he's only 1 year behind.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, no, I'm just saying that sometimes when we talk about legacies, I just hope he keeps doing some playoff stuff. That's my main concern. Because you know what? You always know, where do you make where's your, what do they say? Where do you make hay? In the playoffs, correct?
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to go on? Because to think about making hay, we had something go on this week that Andrew and I did not pay much attention to. However,
last few weeks.
And we should have, but it ended in high drama, and that's the World Baseball Classic.
It did. Japan, USA in the final, basically the way they drew it up.
Exactly. But you know, the great thing was having Ohtani come out of the bullpen to face Mike Trout. Like, that's better than the natural. That's better than Field of Dreams. You know what I mean? Like, they pulled this stuff out of their hat, and it made it. And I'm hearing now the popularity of the World Baseball Classic is going to bring baseball back to another level. I don't believe that.
I think it will grow significantly than what it has been in the past couple of years because it's like this was the the last couple of WBCs. I never watched them. It wasn't talked about amongst people I knew, but like this year's tournament, it was like, oh my god, like the WBC, the competition is great. This is awesome to watch. Like it's competitive baseball. It's the only argument I heard from people was like, oh, they should do this at the end of the season. I'm like, no, they shouldn't. They should not do this.
I think it should be at the end of the season.
No.
Why?
I'm going to tell you right now.
It makes 0 sense. Nobody will. Nobody. It'd be worse. It'd be worse. Like players wanting to join than it is now.
Okay,
I agree.
I don't know about that, and I'm going to tell you why. Because here's the deal: the season's over already. Okay, it's like, you know what? Why do they always have the Ryder Cup at the end of the PGA Tour? Because
apples and oranges.
Perhaps, but here's my point being, everyone's going to replay. You know what I'm saying? I believe this. Vladdy did not want to play in the WBC. When he ran down to second base and grabbed his knee, I'm still going, oh my God. That's why I didn't watch. I go, the guy doesn't even want to play. And all of a sudden, a week later, he's in the batting box hitting fucking 400-foot bombs.
Well, because
how hurt are you?
Because he cared more. Like he didn't want to tweak any more for the Jays. Because
and I'm thankful. I'm very happy.
That's
okay,
why,
so let's talk to the owner of the New York Mets today. Hey, how do you doing? You spent how many zillion to put your team together? And what's an intricate part of your team? A closer? Oh, guess what?
That's a freak accident, though.
Altuve is going to be gone till when? I know. So injuries happen. So I'd rather have it at the end of the season. Because you get injured at the end of the season, the season's over. That's my take on it. Everybody's warmed up because the pitchers didn't pitch that many innings because they weren't worked in. If you're at the end of the day,
they also had a pitch limit per round.
So that's what I'm talking about. There's an element of the competition that gets, you got a governor on it. Okay, so we're not going to have the F1 race, but you're not allowed to go over 120. Come on. That's what I'm saying. So there's a little things about the WBC. That's probably why my interest wasn't as high, because some of these things are in the back of my head.
Well, how about let me propose this? How about every 4 years, instead of an all-star game, you have a WBC mid-season?
No, that'd be too much gap in the season. Because you got to have about 3 weeks to play it, right? How long was this?
It was 3-week turn.
3 weeks. It would never. It wouldn't fly.
Why not?
Because then the guys are into the rotation. Baseball's very, what do you call it? It's an everyday thing.
Yeah.
Now you're getting the guys out of sync. So if you take a 3-week out of the middle of the season, like what about your guy that's going every 5 days?
That's also why. That's why people are like it shouldn't be at the end of the season because it's like you just played 162 games. The team, some like the select 16, the few teams that made playoffs. You played X how many already games. You like there's been reports guys played through torn labrums whatever to play in the play. The World Series.
Pussies.
Like they'll do
Well,
that.
and you're also
Okay,
taking away from
pussies.
guys off season too, and they're not going to want that.
Okay, you're playing for your country. Okay, but listen, Team Canada does it for hockey. What about the great dream teams in the NBA? Like when are they going to decide like what's there? And that's why hockey.
It's also a very different spectrum. Like international hockey and like international soccer. Those are waves beyond international baseball.
I don't know because like we were talking about and like if you went and checked down in Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and Japan, those ratings were off the chart, especially in Japan, which we alluded to before the show.
Because those worlds are baseball.
Yeah,
those worlds are baseball.
I mean, you're like me, huh? I got to put my hand in the wound on these babies, but
like you look at other things like hockey, you look at soccer, the international basketball, even like those sports are international. Like those are sports played around the world.
Okay, so if they're played around the world, here's another thing I didn't like about the World Baseball Classic, and me and Mr. Milani discussed this. There's certain areas in the world where baseball is everything. Okay, so how could
those Latin American countries?
Okay, so why did they put them like? I remember I was talking about the seeding. I thought the seeding was ridiculous. How did America get in the conference with Italy? Italy and England.
Italy wasn't in. It wasn't Italy. It was.
It was Italy. Yeah, Romano played for Italy, didn't he?
No, he didn't. Who did he play for? He opted out because he didn't want to travel to the other side of the world to play for Italy. That's why. Because they were playing. They were going to be. He was going to have to play like I think it was in Japan or something.
Yeah, they were going.
And he didn't want to do that because he didn't want to disrupt the schedule.
Okay, that's cool. But in any event, did you see the seedings? Why? How could they have like in one division? They had the Dominican Republic, they had Puerto Rico, Venezuela, and Japan. That's four. Wasn't Japan there?
No, Japan was like all overseas. But so like the pools, it was Canada, Mexico, USA, Great Britain. I think it was those four.
And Colombia.
Yeah. Oh, gee, there's some powerhouse baseball teams, aren't they?
And then like there was the other pool, which was like Puerto Rico, Dominican,
Israel,
Cuba,
Venezuela. And
Israel was in too?
Yeah.
I didn't know the Jews
they
had a ball
advanced
team.
They advanced to the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Or
but
sorry,
like, so
they did
like,
not. But they they
regioned it. That was the whole. reason
I got that.
Like that.
But I don't. I'm saying like this. So what I'm saying is okay because the Koreans and the Japanese are going to bitch about it too because where they are in the world. This is another reason I want to have it at the end of the year because then they all go to Bermuda. Or just pick a country and but not this, you're over here, and all the traveling. No, at the end of the season, you say, okay, the World Series is over. We're going to give you a 2-week break, and everyone shows up. So before Christmas comes along, and this year the tournament's going to be in Mali. Or this year the tournament's going to be in Venezuela. I don't think that's going to work, though. I don't think it is either, but if I had my way, then I'd be more, because you know what I'm paying attention to more, which we're going to discuss. I'm paying attention to what's going on in spring training. What's going on with other teams? Yeah. I'm more MLB centric than I am the WBC. However, the excitement around this WBC, as you know, Zach, has been bigger.
It was bigger because it was a lot of like players that you would see in spring training and you wouldn't hear about because it's just inside their camps. They're getting a chance to shine. Look at Randy Rosarena. Oh yeah, the guy.
Point well taken.
Like if you look at for fantasy purposes, like if you play fantasy baseball or that, he would be a guy you take maybe third, fourth round. I'd say probably mostly third. Now he's a guy I'll shoot to like late first, second.
Well, I got my fantasy draft on Sunday night, so I'm gonna probably pick your brain about who is it.
Like there's a lot of guys like Joey Meneses, a rookie.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't, nobody would have heard of him because he's playing for the Washington Nationals, a team that has no one.
Well, I was impressed with the Americans because their lineup was pretty.
Yeah, but there was a whole other issue though because Kevin Gausman, probably one of the best American-born pitchers last year, he didn't get asked to play for America.
Probably because he played for Toronto.
So it was a whole thing. There was a whole thing of like people are saying like, oh, our pitchers don't want to come play, but it's like you didn't ask some of your, like you need to ask your pitchers. You got to ask your guys to come play.
Word around the campfire too is there's been whisperings. A lot of guys said, "I wish I had played now," or I think
that's why I think I think in the next WBC, which is a 4 whatever years down the line, I think it'll be a lot better in the sense of you look at what Mexico did. Mexico before was never a big baseball country.
Yeah. Even though they've had some guys,
they've had some guys, but
their ratings were good. I heard
they were never like a team, like a country be like, oh, Mexico, baseball first. Like you never, it's soccer, right?
Yeah.
You think soccer first.
Yeah.
Now
boxing.
Boxing.
Yeah.
Like now, obviously, like Mexico. Like I'm not saying baseball is the number 1 sport in Mexico now because of the WBC, but I think it's like people are starting to notice. Hey, like we had a good team.
Well,
we competed. We competed against the states.
And and not only that, I heard the ratings because I forget what show I was watching. They were talking about. That's why I heard about this. Just ridiculous number that 90% of the Japanese TVs are on the game. I'm going, what is that? I'd have to see. You got to prove that one to me. However, they were saying in Mexico, the media in Mexico, there was a jump in the viewership.
It's crazy.
That's what's awesome. The most they were saying. There were probably more people from Mexico were watching baseball this time than the history of Mexico. Which is cool because, it brings it up because people are saying that baseball has become a regionalized sport.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
think this WBC, I don't think it projects baseball to becoming like the next big thing, but I think it's a lot of steps in the right direction that we haven't had for like 2 decades.
Good point.
Yeah. Because you look at baseball in the last couple of years, it's MLB. You don't talk about the international play. You don't talk about like the Pan Am game stuff, the Olympic game. You don't talk about that.
No.
Like when you talk about hockey, Olympic games, gold. Like your team, you want to win gold. It's a bragging right thing to win a gold medal in hockey. Yeah. It's a bragging right thing to win a gold medal in soccer, women's or men's.
Agreed.
Like it's like I think now with baseball because of this WBC and the fact that for Japan we got to see guys like Roki Sasaki, a 21-year-old that can throw 102. But also has a splitter that hits 79 miles per hour.
When does he come in the major leagues?
If he wants to come over, the window for him I think is 4 years.
Yeah, because he's wrapped up with his team, right? Yeah.
And then there's another guy, a third baseman. Yeah. His name is Murakami. Yeah. He won the Triple Crown last year. He won MVP. He won MVP 2 years ago. So he's a back-to-back MVP, a Triple Crown winner, and he hits 56 home runs, and he gets posted in 2 years or a year. Yeah. So it's like. If with the WBC didn't happen, you don't see these guys. You don't know about these guys.
I know that guy's got power. I seen that third baseman guy can hit. He can hit. I never even heard of the guy. I knew there's that pitcher and the other pitcher. I think it's for Korea. They're both 2 years away and they're young.
There was a 19-year-old pitching and he.
I don't remember.
There's also a pitcher from Nicaragua. Really? He struck out Julio Rodriguez, Rafael Devers, and I think Manny Machado.
Yes, and he got a contract
that same day.
The Tigers, yeah.
And it's like
right, Detroit City.
Yeah, you look years in the past. Like, would a pitcher from that country get a contract? Probably not. Would people from that country watch? Probably not. But now it's like, our pitcher got signed to the majors. Yep. Maybe we'll tune in a little bit more.
Well, anything that advances the sport on that level.
Well, and I have a buddy that's Nicaraguan. He sent me that video like the next day. He was very excited about that.
That's cool.
I think that's why the WBC was so good this year because it was like everybody like in the initial baseball world was kind of just fiending for baseball because it was like they're and that's why I think this time is perfect for it because it's like you have spring training just starting. It's like, we're getting a taste of what the regular season is going to be. But then you have like the high octane baseball
right away,
and you're like hell yeah, I want to watch this.
I'm going to say that I'm not. I don't know. Maybe I was paying attention to too many other things because for many years I've always said, and there's certain thing inside of me still says, baseball at times is still my favorite sport. You know what I mean? Yeah. I love the cerebral game. Now, what's happening is with baseball is like analytics. Okay, now that we've got to this point in baseball, we got a lot of new rules going on, and it seems to be that the rules are going to be working out. Because a lot of the stuff you heard at the beginning of spring training, you're not hearing now, like the pitch count clock.
Yeah,
and that's
still there. Yeah, it's still
there. But I mean, guys are adjusting to it a lot quicker than they're saying to do it. Now,
like we knew would happen.
Yeah, well, if the rule's the rule is the rule, right? Now, here's a couple things that I've been noticing that they've been arguing about is where people can stand in the field, which is my bitch.
Yes.
That might be an adjustment where you got to have 1 foot on the dirt and 1 foot on the grass kind of nonsense. And
So yeah, the biggest change for the shift was you can't have your shortstop on the second base side of second base.
Okay.
He needs to stay on shortstop.
okay, so
But there's
my
things
argument-
about the guys standing on the outfield grass
Yes.
as well. Like
yeah,
the infielders.
you can't.
Yeah,
That one's gonna cause some problems.
It's
I
already
don't-
has, and they were talking about they're going to might be some mid-season adjustments.
Well, so what teams have been starting to do now is that they just scrap left field completely, and they bring their left fielder over, and he plays shallow right.
Exactly.
So it's still a shift, but not as
Dramatic
Not-
as it
not-
was
not as
before, and the
was-
game's
was
going to go
before.
up. So here's what I'm saying. My theory on this is, Zach, is if I want to put all my 9 guys on the right field line, I want to do that. Now, is that the most preposterous thing you ever heard in the history of baseball? Probably, but I want that option. You've taken that away. So that's a critical element in the history of baseball you're telling me I can't do, and that's what I'm having a problem
and
with.
that comes down to just people nowadays being like, oh, baseball is so slow, and it's like it's not fun to watch these guys hit into shifts. Like, we want to see guys get on base, we want to see guys hit home runs. Like,
Then learn how to hit.
no, exactly, I agree.
Learn
And
how to
it-
hit, man. That's what I'm saying. I don't agree with any of that bullshit. And you know what wrecked it? Analytics, loft speed,
Do you think
spin
like,
rate,
I think the game will be better this year with the
underwear
rules.
size. Come on, it's killing me.
I think
Killing
the
me.
game this year will be better with the rules.
I
But
think it'll be quicker.
But like it'll.
Here's my prediction, and I heard someone say this, and I stole it from this. By June 1st, Major League Baseball will be a track meet. And I'll tell you why. Because you're only allowed to throw over to the first base 3 times. So what happens on the 4th? On your mark, the green light goes up. It's gonna be like F1. You see those 4 lights go, and boom, away you're gonna go. So that's gonna have a lot of effect. Think about it. You're only allowed to throw over to first base 3 times.
Yeah.
So what's the 4th time going to be? Speedy Gonzalez and the Roadrunner combined. And not only that, with the extra little bit on the base, scoring's going to go up. 100% has to go up. There's no, everything is designed to make scoring go up, right?
But that's another thing. So look at I used to pitch. So being a pitcher, say I threw over 3 times, and now I know for a fact I can't throw over. He has a big lead. He's going to try to take off. I'm slide stepping, throwing out, letting my catcher throw it down. Will I get him? Will I get him every time? No, not at all. But
Interesting.
you're also giving yourself the best aspect to get him. That's what I think.
Mr. Milani, he's thinking, but I'm still saying
That's why I like the rules. Do I think they should have implanted they've imprinted them? No, but after watching the game and understanding now how the rules are gonna work while playing an actual game, do I like them? Yes.
Because you kids are growing up different than us old men. We need to feed you guys a little thing like your video game.
Well, this
Everything
is also
is
for,
instantaneous.
this is for the casuals, and this is
Exactly.
I
agree.
like
also
yeah.
my parents were getting a little pissed off with some stuff in baseball too, so I think they'll enjoy this as well.
Oh,
so.
no, some of the things that piss me off, too, I have to admit, because I've been watching baseball as a kid. And I'm going to tell you this right now, before we get into talking about our American League East thing. I am a huge guy that's saying everybody's pussies these days. Everybody's soft, including the whole world. We got to cater to right now. Why do you think gambling has gone to your phone? Because you need instant gratification. There's no foreplay anymore. We need the orgasm. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem.
It's also just guys being able to take your money.
Well, that's how
Easy access to-
they were doing that before. They just made it
now it's just
easier
easier
to get
access.
to your money.
Yeah.
Agreed. But I'm always saying this, and Andrew will tell you this, and I'm bitching about this all the time. All I ever hear is this: better equipment, better nutrition, better trainer, better cardio, better girlfriends, better whatever. And, I can't pitch 200 innings. I can't do this. I can only throw the ball this many times. Why do you think we have 27,000 relief pitchers? You tell me this. Well, just one thing, and then you guys explain this to me, and I'll shut the front door. Why is it just 50 years ago, Bob Gibson could pitch 300 innings 5 times years in a row? Why could Ferguson Jenkins pitch 6 years in a row, win 20 games? And here's the number that drove me nuts. I just jumped off my chair and lost my shit. The New York Mets will have a great season if Verlander and Shizer can at least start 60 games. What? 60 games. There's 160. So you guys pay how many millions of these guys? And they're only going to have 60 starts. Back in the day, you started 40.
Well,
You were projected at 40 starts. Now you're talking about 2 Hall of Famers. If they start 60 times this year, they could be in contention.
60 combined?
60 combined. I went, what? They better pitch at 60 combined.
Well, with the money they're making,
The
yeah.
money, come on. But Bob Gibson would start 45 games a year. Ferguson Jenkins would start 45 games a year.
First of all, those are the outliers.
No, Tom Seaver, a lot of guys. One guy,
Tom
Wilbur
Seaver's
Wood.
also an outlier.
Okay, but Wilbur
Tom
Wood.
Glavine is as well.
Okay, but listen.
John
Well, yeah,
Schultz.
who's the last guy that went 20 and 20? Wilbur Wood went 20 and 20, man. That's only 40 years ago.
So my
Only 40 years ago.
my
I'm old.
my argument is this: those pitchers were like Andrew said, they were outliers. So it's like they had the stuff to completely dominate.
So
for
they lowered the
300
mound. I
innings.
got you.
They were so their competition was here. They were here, so they were able to do that, like go that longevity.
Roger Clemens pitched 275. Jack Morris got in his 260. Mike Flanagan got in his 260, and that's only 20 years ago, bro.
Okay.
All right, so what I'm saying is this. I'm sick of hearing, like, you know what? You're an ace. How many guys pitched 200 innings? We looked it up. Was it 6?
Yeah, it was only like 5 or 6 guys last year.
And one guy was 201, one guy was 202. My argument is this. Manoah is a horse. He's an old school freaking horse. He's a big boy out there. Don't yank him, because then you're going to save my bullpen. Because I'm going to hear the other excuse, which we guys talk about elsewhere. Oh, they get tired. They've been
No,
in the bullpen
I
so
look
many
at it
times.
I look at it like this, especially for baseball. Like you're not gonna like when I say this, but it comes down to I'm looking at Manoah's, like you said, analytics. I'm looking at his analytics.
Security. Continue.
If Manoah starts 5 games, and each of those 5 games, the third he goes through an order 3 times, and every third time, if batters are hitting 400 against him, if batters hitting 400 against Manoah 5 times in that 6th game, are you going to start Manoah for those extra games?
I want to know about the emotion of the game at that moment. If I walk out in the mound, he's got a full-blown hard on, keep pitching, Manoah. If he looks a little flaccid, better go to the bench. What about the in-game? Well, nobody talks about in-game anymore. So you look at the little numbers. Oh, gee, what about in that moment, Manoah's got that extra little juice, and he fucking gets Trout out. And I'm going to take it this way. How many times in the World Series, Mr. Andrew, remember we were talking about the Tampa Bay?
Tampa Bay, yeah.
They took the guy out. He was on a nice run. The number said, maybe. Brought the guy in, whack.
I'm with you there, but that's not going to be the difference between a guy getting to like 200 or 250 innings. Let's be real.
Okay, but then I want you. If you don't pitch 200 innings, how much money are these guys making? Did you see Verlander's contract?
He
might not pitch 200 innings. That's insane.
I'm just saying, like from like I know you don't like that that part of baseball. I get it. But it's just like when you have it in front of you, and it's like for over a year span, if they just allowed Manoah again to just continue pitching 7 innings a game, doesn't matter what he does, he's just 7 innings a game, and like he can do it. I have no doubt in my mind Manoah could do that, and he could pitch 250 innings. It would not surprise me. But like if every time the 6th inning comes around, the 7th inning comes around, and he's struggling. And they're like, no, he'll work out of it. And he doesn't work out of it. He struggles even more.
Then I yank him. That's what I'm saying. You're a manager, not the general manager. I don't want the general manager freaking running the team from the press box. I want my Sparky Anderson to go out there and look in the man's eyes and say, nah.
But like that's the thing. Like, yes, there are moments in the previous years where it's like the guy was rolling and they pull him and they're like, why'd you pull him? But there's also been times in the previous years where the guy is shoving, he's doing phenomenal, and they're like, we're gonna leave him, and then he gets lit up and they lose the game.
Okay,
there's been many moments that way as well.
Is it going the other way? So I'm going to go old school on this. I want the emotion of the game. What about the moment? Why do we watch sports? To get the moment. So my favorite moment is, remember a few years ago when Poolhouse hit the home run in Houston and the whole crowd got quiet because they took out the starter and they brought in the reliever. I forget which game it is. Remember, the place was going nuts because if Poolhouse goes out, they're going to World Series. And I'm still on the ground laughing. I replayed that 17 times in a row because I could not. That's how sick I am, really. I love the fact, like that. You know that raucous crowd?
Yeah.
That's just losing their shit. They're losing their mind. Crack. Silence. I love that. And you know why they did it? Because that was a mano-to-mano thing. Maybe they should have left the starter in. I don't know. I'm just saying this is what I have a problem with. Because I'm older than you guys. No biggie. But the bottom line is I watch and I love baseball. Which is maybe I made a mistake not watching the World Baseball Classic. I just have trouble understanding that you're making this much money, but you're only this perform. You know what I'm saying?
At the end of the day, you're never going to be able to 100% please fans, because there's always going to be some fans being like, if you take a pitcher out early, why did we take him out early? Like, it doesn't make any sense. But if you leave a pitcher in, like, and something happens, why did we leave him in too long? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a double-edged sword.
It's a double-edged sword. You're never going to be able to please both sides of that argument. It's just constantly going to be people
Okay, so
upset.
can we agree then that I want all 5 of my starters to pitch 200 innings? Am I asking for too much?
You want Kikuchi to pitch 200 innings.
If he's doing good, we're gonna
There's the if though.
There we go.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So I want it to play out on the field, not on a machine.
We got to move on though. We're an
Okay.
hour in and we haven't even got to our baseball preview.
Okay, so let's get to which means that we obviously have some good things to say. So anyway, we're talking about this. We were talking about this pre-show.
Yes.
What are the expectations for the Toronto Blue Jays this year, guys?
95 wins,
yeah,
somewhere around that
95
ballpark.
wins.
Wow. Yeah, I'm saying 95, but I'm saying let's go for the division win.
Oh, 100%.
You know, and I don't want to be in the plan now because now if we're looking at all teams in the American League East, we have the least holes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay. Now, one of the problems with us is, which I'm going to say, now I don't want to contradict myself here, so I'm going to dance this really, really closely about how I'm going to say this, is that part of the problem with the Jays last year was their outfield defense was atrocious.
Yep.
Let's cut to the chase. So now we've got...
Especially on the corners.
Now we've cleaned the corner. First of all, we're moving Springer over in the corner, so he'll be a little bit wear and tear.
Yep.
And he's a tremendous outfielder as it is. And we got the reconfigured dome.
Yes.
I don't know if you know, I worked down there as an usher. So like I was there on Wednesday and I saw the dome, I saw the fence. It looked great.
Okay.
Like, it looks
But
awesome.
it's in 10 feet though, isn't it?
You honestly, like, you can't really tell the difference.
But it is physically, I've heard it's 10 feet shorter.
I don't know if it's 10, but like I know that you can, like, the walls are in more, but they're also way higher.
Way higher, yeah.
So
okay.
like it's like they brought it in, but they made it still high. Like
Yeah.
so, like even if you hit a line drive like Vladdy's done multiple times at the Rogers Center,
He might hit some off the
this
wall.
year he's hitting the top of the wall. It's not going over.
So it doesn't matter if his doubles, if he has double the amount of
Yeah.
doubles, I'm good with that.
Yep.
But my point being is this. With the reconfiguration and the new outfield, I'm saying that perhaps maybe the pitchers are going to stay in a little bit longer because, for example, we're not going to have Gurriel out there on a fly ball taking 3 steps in. The ball's already going over his head, but his first 2 steps are coming in. So now what happens is now the runners move 2 bases. My pitcher's got to throw more pitches. You know what I mean? So now you're going to have a guy out there that's a competent outfielder and is going to turn that into a routine fly ball. That's going to be maybe 10 pitches less that my pitcher's going to throw, which could add an inning onto his game. Agreed?
Yep.
100%.
So I'm saying now that I'm believing that we're going to see the starters go a little bit longer. Because sometimes what happens is this, is that sometimes Manoah got taken out of the game last year because I don't think Schneider read his emotion. Being this, sometimes Manoah's like got that, and he gets a little erratic. So they go, well, you know what? He might. Let's go sit him down and bring in the relief pitcher and start the and Gosman a couple times last year because they looked around at the outfielder like, what the hell? You didn't catch goddamn ball.
Gosman was by advanced stats and just stats in general, he was the most unlucky pitcher in all of baseball.
I read that too. I heard that.
He would have had a historic season last year.
He would have won 20
if he wasn't the most unlucky starting pitcher in all of MLB.
Yeah.
I've
seen those numbers too.
Yep.
I was shocked. I went, what? The unearned runs.
I think it was his FIP. One of the stats, it was like 3 something. And it was like ridiculous.
And the most what he had in unearned runs that were against him that came up, unearned runs in his stats. I went, whoa, what? That's what happened to the guy. Like, you take half of those away, he's got 4 more wins.
Yep.
Which should this year with this defense going on, I think that it should rise up. Don't you think the pitching? First of all, I think the ERA, whatever the ERA team ERA was last year, I'm taking half a run off that right off. We haven't played an inning. I'm taking half a run off just on the defense alone.
Yeah.
It should play out that way. Now, is that going to affect our offense?
No.
We'll see.
Okay.
I still think our offense is very good.
I do
Very
too.
good.
So
You basically got an all-around player in Dalton Varsho, and you gave up Gurriel, who was
okay, so
who
can this
lost a lot
Varsho
of
hit?
power.
Can this guy hit? Well, okay. Well, this is one of the things we want to discuss. I hope you brought this table. We're going to talk about the Jays hitting lineup in a minute. Okay, but listen, this Varsho guy, can he hit?
So he played in Arizona last year.
And I looked at his numbers.
He played. He played in Arizona last year. That park is like 3 times the size of
The dome.
the dome.
Agreed.
If so, they put there's I think it's called Fangraph. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah,
I can't remember what
Fangraph.
the website is. But you can basically overlay a player's season into any stadium. They overlaid Dalton Varsho's season last year into the Jays stadium. He would have had almost 40 home runs.
That's what they're saying. They said we would have hit. They
he-
said he would have hit. Like, what did he hit? 240 something.
Yeah.
I also heard they said he would have hit almost 270.
Never-
That was a
yeah.
jump to me.
Never-
you know
never
what I'm
look at-
saying, Mr.
yeah.
Milani? That's a big jump. But Fangraph said he would hit, what, 260 something?
It was crazy. So it's just like he played in a ballpark that was not hitters friendly, and he still managed almost 30 home runs.
Agreed.
That is amazing to do, especially in your second big league season.
And he's a lefty coming into a Jays, very right-handed heavy Jays lineup, and that's going to be a big key.
Huge. I'll give you that. But here's the other thing about him. I haven't seen him hitting the dome yet, so it's going to be nervous because I thought that Chapman was going to get 40 last year, remember?
And I kept telling you to kind of.
Yeah, I said Chapman for 40, and I'm going this year for 40.
Nah.
I don't think he goes 40. I think he goes 32.
I think it's 30.
Okay, so we'll bet a beer. Over 35, you guys buy a beer. Under 35, I buy a beer.
Sure.
Well,
I'll agree to that.
okay, we'll go that
Agree
because
to
he's going to hit 40. Because I think part of the reason last year is like he was a little bit overplaying. Like, you know, when you come in and you really want to be that guy. So I
Yeah.
think it might be more settled. He's more comfortable.
He did say
You know,
he did say that like when he came into he didn't get a full spring training with the team because
Yeah.
he got traded midway through.
Yeah, and all that.
And
So,
it was also a shortened one as well. So he's like, I didn't get much reps with the team. I didn't feel
so he's
comfortable.
comfortable
Yeah.
and he's the best. And the biggest crime last year is how he did not get a Gold Glove, and Vladdy did. How did that happen?
I'm still shocked.
I mean,
Vladdy
how
got a
did
gold
that-
glove.
how
like
did-
the
I think-
second night of the season is a Vladdy gold glove like bobblehead giveaway, and I'm like, oh, like fuck, like that happened.
I think
I'm
Vladdy,
going to get one of those because he's never getting another Gold Glove.
No, I never say never, but
No,
I
agreed.
think he
agree,
was
I
the
agree.
best defensive first baseman. How Chapman didn't win Gold Glove at third? Yeah, that's ridiculous.
his
I was
analytics
saying
weren't
it.
good
That's
though.
ridiculous.
And
No,
that's what
but-
a lot of people look at.
Yeah, I know. And so screw analytics because okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay, but anyway, back to my favorite subject, analytics. Fuck that. Anyways, I'm just saying Chapman all around. I think he should be an all-star this year. I think he's going to hit 270. He's going to be more comfortable in the lineup because this is where we're going to go to.
I don't think he's gonna hit for average.
270. I'm giving him 270 because of the
I think
big
he's gonna
wall.
hit-
Because those fly balls will now hit the wall. I'm going to give him that. But
I
in
think he's
any
gonna
event-
hit below 250.
Okay, Mr.
but-
Milani, give us your lineup. Give us your who do you think you're going to hit? We want to hear. I want to see this Mr. Analytics lineup.
Okay.
All the way from
Mr.
Maple.
Leading off, right fielder George Springer.
I'll take it.
Batting second, first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I believe you should play your best hitter in the 2-hole.
Wow. Okay.
Analytically, I know you love this. Your best hitters are in 2 and 4. Batting third, catcher Alejandro Kirk. Batting fourth, second baseman Bo Bichette.
Second baseman, I heard.
Oh, yeah. This
second-
is
whoa.
this is our
I'm
realistic
loving-
lineup.
I'm
This is
loving-
our ideal lineup.
Okay, I like part of this. Go.
Batting fifth, DH Brandon Belt.
Keep going.
Batting sixth, third baseman Chapman.
Chapman, okay.
Batting seventh, left fielder Dalton Varsho. Batting eighth, shortstop Santiago Espinal. And batting ninth, the center fielder Kevin Kiermaier.
Okay, I like a lot of that. Because number one is I didn't hear that Murrayfield guy's name. So I'm good with that.
Him and Bijou are my pinch hitters.
Okay, we're
they're
coming
my
in,
first
okay.
guys off the bench.
Okay, so I have a little problem with this. I think Bo is not. I don't like him as a cleanup hitter.
You can't. Don't think of it like as a cleanup hitter. You want balance throughout the lineup,
Okay,
right?
so so what I would do is I would still want a bunch at the top because if Vladdy doesn't get a hit, Bo does. So I kind of I'd like both of them. I would prefer.
He batted really well in the 4-hole last year, though. Don't forget
At that stretch, and then he had the good power too. But I'm still going. I'm thinking. I'm predicting somewhere along the line that Chapman's going to end up in the cleanup spot for a while. I really do. I think his power is going to do there, and then we're going to have the Springer, Bichette, Vladdy, Chapman. Because then I want Kirk hitting fifth. Because guess what? I don't like his speed. Or Jansen's going to be in there. Because I think they're going to play. Their at-bats are going to be pretty close.
Kirk's not really a power guy, though. That's the thing.
But he'll get on. So I'll take him fifth because he's going to protect whoever is whoever's going to be hitting fourth. He's going to be the fifth bat to protect him in the lineup, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that means Jansen's going to have to pitch too. I mean, he's going to have to play some games too. Because
I'm fine with him.
Was that?
I'm fine with him in the lineup.
Okay, so where would you put him on the days that he's hitting? Like, I'm saying if
he's bottom, he's like 8th or 9th, I would say.
Okay, me too.
Yeah.
So when
Danny
I'm saying,
you put Dan Jansen 8 or 9?
Yeah.
yeah, but then I want Kurt. Like, okay, who's starting the pitch? Okay, who's catching today? If Kurt's catching today, I want him in top 5. If Jansen's pitching today, catching today, I want him in 8th or 9th. Just because I think that Kirk has better back control, number one. You know what I mean? He's going to be more practical.
Kirk has a better eye. Jansen has better power.
Agreed. So that's what I'm saying. So I know that my on-base percentage with Kirk is going to protect me in the batting order. And I don't think Jansen's going to have that. He's going to have the power, but I don't think he's going to have the back control to protect the guy in the lineup that I want to be protected. But I'm saying outstanding call here, Andrew. You put Espinal at shortstop and put him in that lineup.
He's my
the
guy.
house that happens. Bro, we're going to say this for a year. We're screaming. We want Espinal as a starter. And if he gets traded in the next week to the Dodgers, I'm going to lose my shit because I'm not trusting Merrifield as a solid second baseman. That's going to take away from our defense. Now, his analytics, I just read, his projection right here in this book I have right here has projected him to be, he's enough reps to be, the Fangraph guys.
Yeah.
They projected him to have enough reps to be a above average second baseman on a defensive team. I like Bichette moving over at second base. I agree. He's more a natural second baseman. We've been saying that for how long?
Yeah.
How long? But is his ego going to do it now?
Doubt it.
Because I think he's got a little bit more ego than we realized.
Oh, I think he's got a lot more ego than we realize.
Great, but you know what? One thing that he did, he's on the forefront of getting rid of the home run jacket. He's been responsible for getting that out of there.
By the way, do you hear Pittsburgh asked the Jays permission if they could use that this year?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because they're
garbage
younger,
anyway,
so they need something to do it. I think what's happening, and Zach, you might, because you're down there at the Dome and you're ushering whatever the case may be, is I think that they wanted to take a little of that Latin American spirit out of the dressing room. I don't want to have no disrespect to Latin American players, but I've also heard a number from the Fangraph or whatever is that sometimes when you have too much Latino in your dressing room, you do not win the World Series.
It was more the big thing around the clubhouse that I heard, and on Twitter what I heard, it was that the smiling, laughing around, having fun while losing games, and this is not like the attitude of not really taking it as serious as they probably could have was the big factor. And it's like I don't hate Teoscar, I don't hate Lourdes.
Neither do I.
They were great players, but it's like There's guys out there, and the guys we got are better. Like Dalton Varsho is better than
Okay. Remember. No. Wait before you say that. I'm going to say better in what way? Because I'm going to say this: if both of those guys go to the other teams and they hit 300 and get 30 home runs, you're going to be shocked? No. Okay, it's their defense that that was concerned me. Like they were so terrible. I would have kept one of them for DH. Like I was hoping we'd get.
I thought they would keep one.
I thought they'd keep one and make him more of a DH, so we'd have that steady DH. Because now our DH is going to be by committee, obviously, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they got Brandon Belt, but I don't want him. I think he's past his best before date.
I want him in the lineup almost every other day with Vlad.
Yeah.
I want Belt starting almost like nearly every game.
If this was 3 or 4 years ago.
Nope. I want him now.
Wow. Okay, we're going to see. That's going to play out. Well, that's going to play out in the
I think he's going to bounce back.
I love the guy as a player. I really did. When we got him, I used to love him. He was on my fantasy team a couple years ago.
He's hitting in a very friendly ballpark after playing in a ballpark in San Francisco that had the deepest right field.
Agreed.
And he's now going to be. He also has a phenomenal eye at the plate.
Agreed. So is he going to hit 30 here?
I think he can hit 25 minimum.
Okay, so let's look at our lineup because we should have all kinds of power because you're going to expect 40 from Vlad. I'm calling 40 from Chapman. You're calling 25 to 30 for Belt. You're going to get 30 from Bichette this year. Okay? So who else have we got in the lineup that's going to hit? Jansen's going to hit 20 if he plays on a regular basis. Agreed?
Yeah, Jansen should play regularly.
Okay, so he's going to hit. So is Varsho, you're saying now with all his power, you're telling me he's going to be 25 or 30 in the dome?
I think he's going to hit 30.
He's going to hit 30. That means we should lead the league in home runs.
They did
Should.
it. They do it almost every other year.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying with the power. So now we got to look at why they're going to win the division because we look at the other teams.
Well, hold on. We didn't get your lineups.
What's that?
We only did
oh,
mine.
okay. That's okay. So here's my lineup that I wanted. Okay, I'm going to leave Springer at the top.
Yeah.
I want Bo at second. I want Vladdy at third. Now I'm going to be jumping up in the air and contradicting myself. I would like to start the season right off with Chapman saying, you're going to be our power-hitting third baseman in the DH hole. So he's going to get fourth. Then I want Kirk on the days that he's pitching.
Yep.
I want him to be the fifth. Okay, now, if he's not playing and Jansen's going to be in there, then I want it to be one of our new guys. Because I think one of our new outfielders, I want to give him the confidence to move up in the lineup.
So Varsho you're putting as your fifth then.
Yeah, I want to give him the chance. Because I want to give these guys the confidence. If they're going to be coming to coming to the Dome now, which is a hitter's park, and we're going to give them the chance, why should they hit ninth? However, I do want Espinal as my ninth every day because I want him to be like our second leadoff guy. You know what I'm saying? So,
okay.
You know what I mean? So when we come down, so we have that inning and it's all of a sudden we got the ninth hitter. Who is our ninth hitter? I want Espinal to be there because I want him to be a starter. Okay, am I missing anybody? That's my whole lineup right there. Because, I mean, what's his name?
Who are you DHing?
Who am I DHing?
Yeah.
Well, we got to get Belt in there someday. But however, when Jazz is not playing, I'm gonna play it this way. Because of the movable lineup, as the famous Stephen A. line is, let's keep this thing fluid.
Yeah.
In this manner, if Belt is doing the job that you guys are telling me, because I think he should be the DH too, and I think that Belt should get a few days like the rest on second baseman, so he'll get in there, so his glove will be able to use. Because once upon a time, Belt was almost a Gold Glove infielder. Yeah. So we're going to forget about his defense. I'm more want his defense than Merrifield's defense. But what do we do with Merrifield?
Well, I think Merrifield's kind of got to be like a bench kind of / rotation
But
guy,
Biggio, too. Because what are we going to do with Biggio this year, guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't this a shit to get off the pots year for him? And he's
agree.
looked great in spring training, by the way.
He's their super utility. He's basically going to be playing every day, but a different position every day.
Yeah.
Okay,
and that's why I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
Me too. So
outfield,
I'm saying Merrifield should be in the same position, not start off the season. He's our starting second baseman. I'm nervous already.
I think he should be starting second baseman.
Do you?
Yeah.
Really?
So I like Espinal. Don't get me wrong. I love Espinal. I think he's a great defensive guy. Merrifield is better in the sense of like just pure bat to ball skill and getting on base and reading pitchers for stolen bases.
Okay, so since he led the league in hits, I'm going to go to analytics. He's been trailing down. You check. Remember, he led the league in hits in what? 2020?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, 2020. 2021 and 2022, the graft has gone down on the guy.
He's also played on a team where he's been the best player, so pitchers attack him more than they attack anybody else in the lineup.
I'll give you that. So when they get him on the lineup every day, and so where are you putting him in the lineup then? Where
So
would he be in
my
your
lineup is Springer, Guerrero, Bo, Belt, Kirk, Varsho, Chapman, Witt, Kiermaier.
Really?
I have
Chapman that deep in the lineup?
I put him down there because so you look at it, you're 4-5. You have Belt, Kirk. So you have those two guys. Those are almost automatic on base machines, either walking or getting a hit. That's how I see that. You have Varsho who can either he'll hit a bomb, get on base, whatever,
or strike out.
But then you go to Chapman, you still have two guys on base. So you're like this lineup is so deep in the sense of you can really start anybody from 1 to 7, maybe besides 1, because Springer will always be leadoff.
Yeah.
From 2 to 7, realistically, like you can flip flop anybody. Obviously, you want to keep Bo and Vlad towards the top of that.
Always.
But I think from 2 to 7, those guys, like you can have a different lineup almost every day. And having the bottom two as Witt and Kiermaier, two guys who are like the sneakiest when it comes to getting on base and that have this craziest speed. Like Merrifield already said this year, like because of the pickoff rule, he's like, I'm going to be manipulating the hell out of it. It was stolen bases.
Track meet.
Like
track meet by June, guys.
Yep.
Track meet by June.
Look at stolen bases. We haven't had like big stolen bases numbers since like Ricky Henderson.
Never.
It feels like.
Never. Agreed.
The fact that it's starting to get back to that now, I'm excited because Merrifield says he's like, I want to aim for 30. And then you have Kiermaier there, he's done it multiple times.
Yeah.
We know he has the speed.
So we're going to speed up the game, make everybody watch more. We're going to get more eyeballs on people under 30 watching the game because they're speeding it up. I think that's the theory, is it?
Oh, well, I don't think that's a theory. I think that's fact.
That's what's happening. Like I said, the rule with all the rule changes, I think it appeals to the casuals,
Yes.
but it also appeals to the deep diehard baseball fans in the sense of there's different aspects of the game to think about now when you're playing. And like
It's
when you're
always a
watching,
cerebral game. I'll give you that.
like it's a chess match. And
Agreed.
I think,
You know one thing I don't like? I agree. And it's always a chess match. I'm glad you brought that up. That's why baseball's always been my favorite sport. But I'm going to tell you one thing about baseball that kind of irks me. They don't give a shit about guys like me. I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm going to watch anyway.
Yep.
So they got me. That's what kind of irritates me as an old man. Because I love baseball. I'm going to watch every game. I know that. So they don't give a shit about me. They don't, give him some milk. Sit in the corner over there. He's going to watch the game. He's just going to be bitching when they pull the pitcher too soon. And guess what? I'm going to be bitching when they pull the pitcher too soon. You know
Now,
what I'm saying?
we're approaching the hour and a half mark, so I just want to get to some quick questions. We'll just kind of rapid fire through the rest. Jay's rotation, how are we feeling? Their starting rotation.
I think it'll be one of the best by the end of the year.
I'm hoping it is too, and that's why I say we have to win the division, because if you look at every rotation in the American League East, they're all flawed. Every one of them. Like Boston's going to come out with who? Kluber and Sale is their top two? Ooh.
Oh, well, we talked about this in our pre-show meeting. Like, the top three pitchers on Boston all on the wrong side of 30.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then who's the opening day pitcher for Baltimore?
Kyle Gibson.
Oh, gee, he's been a Cy Young candidate how many times?
Yep.
Okay, like that. I love that answer, guys. Now let's move on to Tampa Bay. What did they do for their rotation?
Tampa has they could be the best rotation. Like they have.
Do you really think so?
They have a
Didn't a guy get hurt?
They have a certified ace in McClanahan.
Oh, gimme. That's a
do.
gimme. That's a gimme. I love him.
Sorry, McClanahan is better than Manoah and Gosman.
He's
a top
security. Wait a second here.
I'm a Jay Stan. I'm a Jay Stan.
He gets sheltered, though.
But McClanahan is a great pitcher.
I think he's great, too, and I think Rasmussen's good, too, but I think Manoah's going to be above all of them. I'm calling Manoah this. He's going to win. He didn't win the Cy Young last year. He's winning it this year.
Well, McClanahan would have won the Cy Young last year if he didn't get hurt.
Maybe. If he had on a winning team. He was on a run there. Well, we'll see now. Yeah. We're seeing right now, because you see what I'm saying? Every year it goes on. Either, like in the history of baseball, as you can see, it either goes up or down. That's why I'm worried about Merrifield. I'm saying like sometimes, and Belt. I love Belt, but I mean, are they on the wrong side or are they on the decline? That's what I'm worried about.
They're surrounded by young guys too, so it's like you get rejuvenized easily.
Thank you very much. That's what I love about the Blue Jays lineup is the balance of old to new. And not taking like the fun part of the game. Let's take it serious.
Yeah.
Here's a key to us that nobody's talking about. We got Don Mattingly sitting on the bench.
Huge.
Yeah,
that is huge.
I think so too. You know what I mean? So we are projecting the Jays to win the division. Then, correct?
Yes. The only thing that worries me about the rotation is Barrios. Oh. He has not had a great spring.
What about Gucci?
Has he had a better?
So the thing with Barrios and people really over exaggerate his WBC start, but
I'm not so much worried about that.
So he's been good in spring training because he's changing how he's approaching hitters, and I think that's what he needs to do. He needs to stop relying on his fastball, use his sinker and his slurve more.
100%.
He uses that combo more,
100%.
and that's what Pete Walker is telling him to do.
Okay.
Are they speaking the same language this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the big thing in the WBC game for Barrios was that he was using his fastball and he was going in on hitters. And like Pete Walker watching the game, like he even said basically he was saying what the fuck are we doing?
Yep.
Like that's not the game plan. So it's like Yachty calling the game for Barrios and then Christian Vasquez behind the plate calling the pitches. It wasn't what Barrios was working on. So he's like, that's not him. I think the Jays could have one of the best rotations by the end of the year.
I'm hoping
we got the sixth guy too that he can come and start, because if Gucci doesn't start, what's his name? The guy that we picked up, if he doesn't,
Mitch White.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to be White. I think it's going to be what's his name? Oh,
Zach Thompson as well.
Yeah, they're going to be in there. But I think the key to me personally, that I think what's going to make our rotation is this. Sometimes this thing about closers, they're great one year and we don't know what's going to happen the next year.
Oh, it's going to get into that next.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, is Romano going to be the closing pitcher by game 162.
I don't think he should, but he's going to be.
But that's why I'm saying the key to our year is that we picked up Swanson.
I don't.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Swanson I think is our wild card because maybe by the end of the year he's going to be the guy that's closing.
I think it might happen.
You
I think
do
it
too?
might happen.
Like, I love Romano, but
Me too.
If he goes through another bad stretch again like he did last year, I think they're gonna yank him.
I do too. But you know what? We got Garcia in there too. And a couple of these other guys.
They have
like
a good
Thompson.
bullpen.
Yes,
The key thing with the Jays this year is they got depth.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they have a lot of it this time
Yes.
in pitching.
Which
Last
a
year
lot of-
they
Yes.
didn't.
Which is a lot of something that a lot of American League East teams cannot say.
That's why I'm
Look
going
at the Yankees. They have
they're in
Garrett Cole right
trouble.
now, and that's it. The rest of their starting rotation is out.
Yeah, it's pretty well. And Baltimore's got 2 kids. No,
Baltimore's going to be scary. Baltimore's going to be a very.
I don't know. I don't know if they have the
offensively,
pitching though.
That's what I'm saying. Offensively,
yeah.
I think offensively Baltimore's going to be there, and their parks reconfigured, so they're work around their defense.
Yeah.
And what I'm always saying is that Tampa Bay just seems to show up every year.
Tampa Bay breeds pitching.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
They
but
show up every
Baltimore
year.
also last year didn't have like a solid squad, but like their
No.
pitchers were still fairly good.
Yeah, but they lost. Who'd they lead? They lost the guy. Was it Bundy or somebody? They lost somebody. I thought that
That
they
was a
should
couple
lost.
years ago, but they also have the number one. They have the number one pitching prospect in Grayson Rodriguez, and he's starting in the majors.
And he's starting this
They
year.
also also get a full year of their closer Felix Bautista, who was disgusting.
Yes. Okay. Now,
So, I
that's
mean,
what
like,
I'm looking
that's
at.
What I'm saying. Like, I think Baltimore is a huge wild card.
Me too.
I think they're
I
going to
hate
be
them.
over 500.
They can
with
go-
the
Oh,
they will
expanded
be over
playoff-
500, yeah.
With expanded playoffs, they're going to be a good
They're a
contender to make
sleeper.
it.
They're a sleeper
Yeah.
to make it.
Yeah.
I'm
This is-
saying
this
that
is
way
Gunnar-
over
this-
Boston.
yeah.
Like I'm more scared.
Boston's not going to be close. I think Boston's my pick for dead last in the division.
Wow. Good, because you know what? I'm more scared of Baltimore this year than I'm scared of Boston.
not
Especially
scared
with
of
a couple
Boston
of
at
these
all.
kids. No, okay, good. We'll say that because I hate those guys so much, and I'm not worried
we've
about
had
the
this
Yankees.
conversation. I hate the Red Sox more than I hate the Yankees.
Okay, that's probably, and that's a lot of hate in the house. Trust me, that's a lot of hate. But the bottom line is, I'm saying that the Blue Jays got to win the division this year.
This is the best year for them.
Yes,
to
win division.
They're
I'm saying
setting the
not.
best
Well, I'm
spot.
not. I'm not saying wild card, not play in. I'm saying if we, barring injuries,
Yes.
barring
yes.
injuries.
I think even with injuries, they're set right now with how much depth they have, even in their field, in their position. Like their
Perhaps
position,
maybe,
like,
but
they
I'm
have a- they
okay.
have a
Then
lot
it's
of
going to
depth.
break down to this. You always take this season in 20-game segments. They say you judge your team in 20-game segments. I want to see what I'm not worried about a lot of guys, but I want to see what Brandon Belt's doing. I want to see what Merrifield's doing, and I want to see Varsho. Those are the 3 main guys. I want to see what they're doing after 20 games. Now, if they're all hitting 200 and they're like making contact or whatever, we'll talk about that. However, those 3 guys are going to be huge because you already got Belt in as our DH.
Me too.
Yeah, you guys
should
got him
be.
in as DH, so that's making me nervous. I love the guy. Then. You know what I mean? How old is he now? Pushing 35.
I have
isn't
the
he?
Fangraphs page open. Let me.
He's getting up there, and he's got miles on him from all those years in San Fran that they played all those extra games.
He's 30. He's going to be 35.
Yeah, see, you know what
It's
I
only
mean,
one
and that's
year-
still
it's only
that's
1 year
still
deal, though.
35. He'll still be very productive at 35.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the miles on the guy.
Look at
We just
Nelson
need him to
Cruz.
hit,
He's
though.
40.
Yeah, but he's an
Nelson
outlier.
Cruz is 40. He's still hitting 30 bombs a
He's an
year.
outlier. I just want to say that the house that happens, can we emphatically declare that if Toronto Blue Jays do not win the division, it's a failure?
Yes.
Thank you.
I think it's more a failure if they don't make playoffs.
If they don't make that, that's a disaster.
Division's a tough one. I think this is the best year they have to win the division. But
That's
like
what I'm
look
saying.
at
Best chance
last
since
year with the
15.
Yankees. Like the Jays were supposed to win the division last year.
Yeah, but
And
we
the
had some
Yankees-
injuries and we had a couple of little.
Yeah, but the Yankees also won a historic amount of games in the first half of the
Exactly.
season.
Agreed.
So like anything can happen in a season, but like again, I think the Jays have the best chance to win the division this year. I don't think it's a failure if they don't, but I think it's a failure if they don't make playoffs.
Oh, 100%. But I say the division because here's what we had to go into last year. And one of the question marks of last year was the outfield defense.
Yeah.
And guess what? It was realized. Hence the reason Gozman and the bad luck. And all those other little numbers out there, the extra pitches that guys had to throw
Yeah.
because the outfielders were doing insane things. So I'm just saying, I hope we didn't compromise our offense too much for defense because the defense was going to improve our ERA 100%. But I think we got enough bats. We'll see with
They're
Bell.
better
You know what,
suited this year,
what
for
were you
sure.
saying there, Mr. Milani?
I was just gonna say we're like at the hour and a half mark.
Okay.
So I mean, we should probably wrap up baseball. I don't think we're gonna get to NBA, NFL, or March Madness. But
Okay, really quick before we're going to say one thing, we have to say one thing about March Madness in this respect. This is the first time a number one will not go to the Final Four in how many years?
Oh man.
So does that make it a
It's
better?
going to be a good final.
Okay,
It's
so
gonna be
does
a
this
good
make it a
ending.
better tournament because we don't have a number one?
I mean, I think it doesn't. You don't need a number one to go deep.
I've always said that
Yeah.
ever in my whole, because I'm a junkie on this. I don't know, Zach. I took the first 2 days off work. That's how much of a March
I think
Madness.
it's,
Well,
just, I think it's just fun. You know, it's
I
just
think
going to be a fun
that-
tournament to watch.
Well,
now.
the whole point of it's madness. Like
It's
you don't
madness,
like a
yeah.
number one could get knocked out anytime. You know, like that's the whole draw of the tournament.
Upsets
Like,
happen.
I
all the
still
time.
have
If
two of
it's
my
if-
Final Four staying. I'm just saying I'm tremendously disappointed at Alabama, but America's
Yes.
glad. I'm totally America's glad because the whole gangster X aspect.
yeah.
And that kid had the worst game of the year last night, and that's what the madness is. You have one bad game, you go home.
You're done.
You're done. So I'm going to say that. The other thing that really do, because the two topics we want to get in the end is, one is this. What about the Lamar? We have to bring up the Lamar Jackson situation. What is going on? Is that collusion?
I mean, it very well could be.
Yeah, it's just-
I mean, the
it's an
NFL.
interesting situation.
I would point a finger at the NFL for collusion before with Colin Kaepernick. So
Oh, that's a complete collusion.
There you
It
go.
cannot be denied, but they just said he wasn't good enough. You can have reasons to dodge the Kaepernick thing.
Yeah.
You bring in your Jewish lawyer and you just prove why he couldn't play. Oh, he wasn't a starter anymore. Blah 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 blah.
even though me and you could prove why that was bullshit, but
100%.
Yeah.
We're going to go there. But Lamar Jackson is arguably top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nobody's offering a guy a contract. Nobody. That's nobody. Wait a sec. Did I say nobody? Come on. This is Lamar Jackson. And I'm going to tell you why.
It doesn't make sense.
Because the Whoremaster got the bag. You know what I mean? Deshaun Watson. The Whoremaster got the bag. And Cleveland, you know how much the NFL owners are chastising the Haslams now in Cleveland? When they come in the room, they spit on the ground when they look at these guys coming in because how much they've disrupted the pay scale
Yeah.
for quarterbacks. And
Oh,
Joe Burrow's
they
coming
fucked
in.
it up.
Oh,
They
huge.
fucked it up.
Huge. And now Lamar, if you get $150 million guaranteed, I think that's a pretty good bag.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And he wants the 200 million. Okay.
Crazy. Yeah.
So,
He should get. I hope he gets it. 'Cause,
Okay.
he deserves it.
okay, so
I'm a Lamar fan, so
okay, we've got two things to deal with before we go. We're going to deal
Also,
with.
quick shout out to Formula One, Sergio Perez winning Saudi Arabia.
Thank you very much. By the way, the house that happens, we will keep you on the F1 forefront for the whole year, will we not?
Yes. And then
Can
Alonso, they tried to take away his podium. They couldn't.
They couldn't do it. I love that. We're big Alonso fans in the house that happens. But can I say one thing about F1 that we're going to talk about all season, and you have to, is the persona of Max. You got to love this guy. You see him?
Love him.
He shook the other guy's hands like, you took one of my wins. I gave that to you. You better savor this one because we're not doing this again. You see in his face,
Yeah.
he had that shake like, and you see his dad. You brought up his dad. Look,
Yes.
his dad, smoke up. Well, you took that away from my boy. You're a team. Isn't F1 a team?
Yep.
But obviously he's like the alpha dog. He could be the alpha dog of F1.
Max?
Yeah.
I think he is.
The alpha dog of F1. So big shout out to
But
that.
yeah, I also want to point out, it looks like we're going to have 4 competitive cars this year, which
Yes.
is great to see. And
Yes.
boy, oh boy, does McLaren just look like a fucking atrocious disaster
Whoops.
this year.
And they were supposed to make the move up, eh? It's only 2 races.
I never
though.
completely bought that. Nah, but they're way. Even
They're
the
looking bad.
Preseason, they said they were going to be bad.
They
They weren't
worse.
being. They were.
And they're wasting good drivers, I think.
Great drivers.
I think they got good drivers.
Lando and Oscar are both
I
fantastic.
think they're great drivers. That they're wasting a year of these guys because that's how good they are. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyways, at the house we love. I want to tell you, Andrew got me on this tip. A year ago, I didn't even know who Alonso was.
A year ago, I was making. Oh, they just drive around in
The
circles.
circle. Now I'm calling NASCAR ghetto. Get that shit off. Get that ghetto stuff off, please. You know what I mean? That's how far I've gone. But that's the beauty of sports.
That's what it does to you.
You know what I mean? If you discover like that competition, like I watch games of competition, when you actually realize the breadth and depth of competition in F1, I text him, hey, Andrew, I PVR'd. What do you
I've never been so proud of Cruz in my life.
I tell him go. I put it on the PVR because that's how much.
PVR and F1,
But
love it.
F1, you know what I mean? That's what it means to me. But anything else we're missing before we get to our final things here?
I think we each have a rant that we
Okay,
want to get to.
okay. Before we started, really quickly, I'm going to name out 4 guys. You know what I mean, Zach, Andrew. I'm going to name out 4 guys that play professional sports. Ken Griffey Jr., Daryl Sittler,
Yes.
Charles Barkley, and Barry Sanders.
I know exactly where you're going with this.
Tell me where I'm going with this.
They have each never won a championship.
That's where I want to begin. Okay, but here's why I'm bringing it up. Did you hear Damian Lillard on the Jay Redick show, Jay Redick podcast this week? He said something to me that is so vital about the history of competition and I thought a couple of talking heads, including Stephen A., blew this off. Is that Dime said this? Does nobody respect my career for the journey that I'm taking because I want to win a championship in Portland? So I come out every day, every night, and sometimes I'm the highlight reel. I'm playing as hard as I can. When you get to the end of the journey, I didn't lose. So my career doesn't going to mean anything because I didn't win a championship? And I went, wait a second. I take Dame on my team any minute. So when we got this hype about, he says, coming in the league, it's all about the rings. Chase the team. What about if you just want to play your goddamn ass off and you don't win? Does that make you any less?
Absolutely not. No.
Thank you. I want to know where we stand in the house that happens because we got like the LeBron haters because he's chasing rings.
Now,
what's Durant doing? What's Kyrie doing? Well, you know what I mean? Jumping to teams to make the super team.
So I want to ask you this. Like, who was the one that kind of like broke this in a way? Is it the Michael Jordan that kind of made it all about championships, do you think?
I think any sport that you play, when you start the season, I want to win.
I think it's always just kind of been naturally about championships.
It has, but I mean now.
But like now it's like a dick measuring contest. Like I won 5, I won 6. You know,
Exactly.
I would put that back on Jordan.
I think it's more media.
I think that goes back to Jordan.
Oh, it started with Jordan, and then Jeter, and Jeter with the Yanks.
Yep.
That started going.
I also think it's media comparing guys who win championships to people who don't.
Okay, but my thing is where I'm with Lillard on this is that. What does Tom Brady say? And okay, just he's the outlier with all his rings and that. But what does Brady say at the beginning of every season? It's about the what? The journey. You hope the journey takes you to a championship. But do you dismiss the season? If you played your ass off and you got right there, like, for example, Jalen Hurts on Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Look at his stature right now. Are you thinking any less or any more of him because of this season? His journey tells me he now could be a top 10 quarterback, even though he didn't get the ring, correct?
Yeah.
So my point is this. I'm not disrespecting the regular season. The reason I picked up those 4 guys in particular is one. I think Ken Griffey is the greatest center fielder of all time. All time.
I think so too.
I will take Griffey as all time, okay? Charles Barkley is the epitome of hardcore basketball player. I seen Barkley play in his prime. This guy came out every night, and he didn't jump on another team. Why? He wanted to beat who? He wanted to beat Jordan. You know what I mean? I don't have to say anything about Barry Sanders. And if you know this, I'm a disciple of the Detroit Lions. So let's not say anything about Barry Sanders. Just go check on YouTube. Hit the Barry Sanders highlight film.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys he's never made. And you know what I wanted to acquiesce a bit to, and this is to my good friend, Mr. Milani, Daryl Sittler.
I found it interesting that you chose him.
The reason I chose him is because I always thought, the reason is not because I'm here, is that Daryl Sittler was probably one of the best players in the league. Who was playing in the league at the same time as him?
Oh, Guy Lafleur.
Bobby Orr, Dennis
Potvin.
Look at the guys that were playing there. But every year, Sittler left his jersey on when he was over, Sittler gave you every ounce that he could get. I'm telling you, go back and look at his numbers.
Oh, I have.
Okay, well, so you would know, like this Sittler guy is one of the greatest athletes in the history of Toronto sports.
And he has probably an unbreakable record.
Oh, yeah.
One of the most impressive, the 10-point game.
Oh, I watched that game live that time. It was insane. He couldn't do no wrong. And Turnbull put the period on the sentence for him for scoring because he got the assist.
Yeah.
But my point is that I'm shouting out to Damian Lillard right now that I'm watching games because I am watching the journey. I'm watching how we got there. Look at March Madness right now. We talked about Alabama all this time. How did their journey end up?
Lost in the Sweet 16.
There you go. And we were talking about these guys are a shoe-in to win it all, and look what happened on the journey. So I want a big shout out to Damian Lillard on this factor. We at the House That Happens, we respect your journey. We want to win the ring.
Yep.
We want to win the ring, but sometimes it just doesn't go your way.
Well, there's 29 losers in the NBA every year, right?
Oh, I hate that word. But
no, well, it's true.
Well, and I'm
in the wise words If you're not first, you're last. Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, exactly. We can never forget that, can we? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's so true. Whoever remembers who comes in second place.
Exactly.
And I'm going to end this on this because I hated this guy with a passion. And I hated this team with a passion. But besides Charles Barkley, the number 2 guy that's looked at that way is Dan Marino.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like if you see Marino play in his day, come on. And Dan Fouts is another one, but Marino even more because he just broke the game wide open.
Yep.
And I hated Marino, but I have to respect the fact that
Sure.
the guy, he still has to be considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Well, we did their top 10 list. He was on there.
Yeah, he had to make it. But again, why we don't talk about Marino as much? Because he didn't win a ring. So guess what? Trent Dilfer has won just as many rings as a cheesehead guy. And I want to say one thing I'm proud of, too, at the House That Happens. We didn't even bring his name up. And I'm not. And we know who we're talking about, don't we, bro? We know who we're talking about.
Hey, listen.
Don't say his name now.
As a cheesehead right now,
Don't
okay?
say it. Don't say it. Because we have not
I won't
said
say it.
Thank you.
All I say is I just want one pick. That's it. Just give me a pick. That's all I'll say. Give me a first and a second. I don't care. I just want something.
There we go.
I want this to be over.
That's okay. That's so good. Then now we pass that without saying anything. I think that we were very smooth. But before we go, I'm going to leave the mic to Mr. Milani for a minute here.
So, in the hockey news recently, there's been a few players sitting out because the teams have been doing their Pride nights, and a few players have been sitting out. Which, if you want to sit out, like, I don't really care. Just fucking own it. That's my thing. Just fucking own it. But a few players, James Reimer, Eric Stahl, Mark Stahl, are all hiding behind religious reasons. Fuck you guys. That's what I got to say to that.
Yeah.
They talk about what they're all Christians. I grew up Catholic, so I know my shit.
Me too. I grew up Catholic too.
Jesus did not fucking say any shit about being gay.
100%.
He would have been homies with the gays.
Yeah, he would have been.
He probably was.
He probably was, because there was gay people in Jesus' time too.
And whatever people like to
just start this century.
Yeah. No, people like to point to whatever, like I think it's Leviticus that has like a lot of stuff where they mention homosexual.
Yeah.
But I mean, like there's some historical context where like I was reading some stuff and a lot of people think it's about the sexual exploitation of younger men by older men. Because they viewed sex completely differently than we do nowadays,
yes,
right?
of course.
And I just want it just bugs me so much. These guys are hiding behind religion and saying, "Oh, Jesus didn't want it." Like, no, fuck you. You're fucking. You're
just admit it. Stand
Yeah.
up. Just stand up.
That's what I'm
Like, it's okay. Like you said, it's okay if you don't want to be a part of it. It's fine.
Yeah.
But just stand up. Don't be like, I don't want to do it because of my religion.
Yeah.
Don't hide behind shit. That's
Like,
pissed me off too.
yeah.
Because listen,
Yeah, don't hide. Just-
let's remember this. Remember those pure stall boys? What happened a few years ago at the party that night?
Yeah,
when they were doing the
yeah.
shit with the bitches and everyone got drunk and they all got charged. The front page of the paper.
Misdemeanors,
They were
yeah.
Were they Christian that night?
That's what a lot of people on Twitter
Come
were
on,
saying.
yeah.
It's
No,
like
and
these
like-
Christian boys don't look
Yeah,
very
yeah.
Christian.
There's a
now.
few more things I want to say
Exactly.
that. And Jesus had one message: unconditional love.
Unconditional love. And you know what? I really want to.
I'm not
bring it
practicing
up.
Christian, but like
No,
I
I'm
know
not.
that
But you know
shit.
what? I'm really.
Wasn't there another thing on one of the commandments? It was like treat others the way you want to be treated.
But yeah.
No, I'm really bringing this up because one day we're going to have, and I hope you come back for that show, we're going to have a themed show on the hypocrisies of sports. Because the key word that he brought up in this is what?
Hypocrisy.
The hypocrisy
Yeah, it's
of it
crazy.
all
It's
is
crazy.
pathetic.
And like the thing that kills me too is like Eric Stahl, he was fine doing Pride Night when he played for Montreal, but now all of a sudden he's with his brother and he's like, oh, like
I thought it was
it's
sketchy
ridiculous.
too. I thought
It's
it was
ridiculous.
very sketchy because first of all, I'm really hoping in my day and age, or no, I hope because I won't be here, but I hope you guys live to see the day where we don't bring up color, race,
Sexual orientation.
Color, creed, sexual orientation. Yeah,
we go to the game and the guy, because listen, if the guy that's playing third base is green with white stripes and he boots the ball in the ninth inning, I'm going to hate him anyway. I don't care. What
doesn't
you
matter if he's
are,
black, white,
I don't
whatever.
care. Green with white stripes. If you kick the ball in that thing, I'm going to hate you anyway. So I really appreciate this, bro, that you bring this up.
And one more thing I want to bring up too about this is I don't know who's responsible for this because Reimer put out that idiotic statement. It's like
brutal.
That
was a horrible statement.
I don't know. I don't know if that's him that wanted to bring that up or like PR, but like if that was PR, like first of all, they deserve to be fucking fired.
That PR guy needs to go.
He lost his job to me because when you read that statement, what did you think? Who wrote this?
I cringed.
Who wrote this? I went. Huh?
I read the first sentence. I'm like, I don't even want to finish reading this.
That's how Zach. It's funny you said that. By the time I got to the thing, I go, let's move the ticker, please.
I don't want to read this.
Like who would you know what though? So whose fault is this? Is it the management's or it's the players? Because the manager's saying, "Oh, we want to be all
Probably
inclusive."
A little bit of both, in all honesty.
I'm just saying it's all hypocrisy, and let's end it on this note. And
I will say this: like it's like let's be real, it's all like. With this, it's all bullshit. Like it's just corporations trying to take advantage, right? They don't give a shit.
No, they don't at all. And you know what? If we can, I piggyback on this before we leave. Where's Black Lives Matter? There you go. You want to talk about the hypocrisy? Remember, you're watching in the bubble. You couldn't go up and down the court. All you seen on the court was Black Lives Matter.
One thing I like about NFL is that still on their helmets they still have the statements for the.
Oh no! If you I don't like. What did he just say? It's unconditional.
Yeah.
We're
all the same. We just have different melatonin levels.
Exactly.
We're literally all the same. We just have
100%.
different melatonin levels.
We're going to put that in the house that happens, and I hope all people that were listening just heard the statement.
Put that on a
you
T-shirt.
Maybe we will. Maybe we'll put that on the back of our House That Happens T-shirts. By the way, maybe we better get 6 made because we will probably have Zach as a regular.
Yes, sir.
On our thing, and I want to appreciate the fact that you came out here on a Saturday morning. Contributed mightily to this thing that we call the House That Happens. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Mr. Milani?
I think that's about it.
I really enjoyed the proceedings here today, and one more time, I just want to always remember everybody in Toronto, the House That Happens, we keep tabs on the Habs. Hi, my name is Cruz. Thank you, Zach.
And I'm Andrew Milani.
We out of here.